Chapter 2017. I see. Ling Xiao's eyes glinted as he nodded his head and said. Ling Xiao knew very well that Lu Bai could have appeared earlier, but Lu Bai chose to appear after the battle between Ling Xiao and Lei Xuanji. This was probably a test for Ling Xiao. I'm sure you can see that I didn't make a move earlier because I wanted to test you. Not only did I test your battle strength, but I also tested your temperament and decisiveness. But from the results, your performance was perfect. Lu Bai seemed to know what Ling Xiao was thinking and smiled faintly. A test? Lord War God, do you not believe in my identity or my battle strength? Ling Xiao said slowly. Neither. I just wanted to see if you could take on a bigger burden. But now, it seems that among the millions of disciples of the War God Temple, I can't find anyone else who is as brave and intelligent as you. You have great luck and great wisdom. You are the little war god of the War God Temple, the successor of the War God position, the future War God Supreme. Lu Bai smiled faintly and did not hide the admiration in his eyes. Lu Bai didn't expect that Ling Xiao, a 6th revolution half-saint, could fight a peerless saint like Lei Xuanji. After all, he only hoped that Ling Xiao could withstand a few more moves from Lei Xuanji. But from the results, Ling Xiao's performance was indeed a great surprise. Moreover, the mysterious power of time that Ling Xiao revealed at the end of the battle allowed Lu Bai to see the great fortune and opportunity on Ling Xiao. Such a person was the future War God Supreme of the War God Temple, who could lead the War God Temple to greatness and glory. Little War God. Lord War God's decision is a little too hasty, isn't it? Ling Xiao was slightly stunned and smiled bitterly. He naturally understood the meaning of the words, Little War God. It represented the true successor of the War God Temple, whose status was incomparably noble, far surpassing the true disciples, holy sons and holy daughters. Hasty? Do you think there is anyone in the War God Temple more suitable than you? Lu Bai smiled faintly. Although I don't want to take on the responsibility, I can only say that there is no one. Ling Xiao blinked and smiled faintly. Junior Marshal Uncle, I admire your confidence the most. That's right, no one in the entire War God Temple is more suitable than you. You are fully deserving of the title of Little War God. The reason I'm here today is to bring you to meet the ancestors. More importantly, you already have the qualifications to comprehend the heaven battling secret technique. Lu Bai said with a smile. Comprehend the heaven battling secret technique? Ling Xiao's eyes immediately lit up. He even automatically ignored the mention of meeting the ancestors and focused all his attention on the heaven battling secret technique. Speaking of which, although Ling Xiao had obtained the Karma secret skill and Destiny secret skill from the 12 heavenly arts, they were only fragments. He had not obtained the complete version. Although the heaven battling secret technique was only ranked 12th in the heavenly spirit realm, it was still a genuine 12 sky arts. Ling Xiao had long been looking forward to it. Now that he heard Lu Bai asking him to comprehend the heaven battling secret technique, Ling Xiao was inexplicably excited. That's right. The heaven battling secret technique is the foundation of the War God Temple. Even the 9 supreme sacred techniques of the War God Temple are related to the heaven battling secret technique. Now that the Great Tribulation of the era is about to arrive, the legendary Heavenly Chosen Convention is about to begin. Since you have comprehended the heaven battling secret technique, you will be able to compete with the geniuses and experts from all over the universe. I hope you will not tarnish the reputation of the War God Temple. It would be best if you could obtain the title of Heavenly Chosen One. Lu Bai stood with his hands behind his back. His eyes were clear and bright as he looked into the distance. His voice contained some mysterious fluctuations. Rest assured, Lord War God. After the Heavenly Chosen Convention, I will be the next saint of the War God Temple. Ling Xiao said faintly as his body exuded a strong battle intent. Very good. Now, follow me to meet the ancestors. Lu Bai said with a smile. Lord War God, I have a presumptuous request. Ling Xiao said hesitantly after thinking for a while. Oh, what is it? Lu Bai said. I'm very curious as to why Lord War God is concealing your appearance. Can you let me see your true appearance? Ling Xiao asked curiously. The reason I'm concealing my appearance is to avoid some trouble. Since you're curious, there's no harm in letting you see. Lu Bai said with a faint smile. Buzz. The void trembled slightly as Lu Bai's body emitted a bright light. The mist on his face slowly dissipated, revealing his true appearance. Ling Xiao's eyes widened in shock. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. How is this possible? Ling Xiao exclaimed. What appeared in front of him was a peerless face. Lu Bai was dressed in a white robe. He was tall and slender, and his black hair fluttered in the wind. His skin was as clear as jade, and his lips were thin. His nose was high, and his eyes were as bright as the stars, emitting a blazing light. He looked perfect, without a single flaw. It was as if he was favored by the Creator, giving him the best things in the world. Lu Bai stood there, naturally exuding an extraordinary temperament. He didn't seem like a person of this world. He was peerless. However, what made Ling Xiao feel strange was that this peerless Lu Bai was actually a man. Lu Bai looked at Ling Xiao calmly. His temperament was ethereal and otherworldly. His entire body exuded an aura of peerless magnificence. Women would feel ashamed of their inferiority and men would go crazy if they saw him. Ling Xiao finally understood why Lu Bai said he was concealing his appearance to avoid trouble. Indeed, with such a peerless face, it was easy to attract trouble. Even with Ling Xiao's composure, his heart couldn't help but beat wildly. This was the first time Ling Xiao had seen such a beautiful man. Many of the women he had seen were not as beautiful as Lu Bai. Have you seen enough? Junior Martial Uncle, follow me to meet the ancestors. Lu Bai looked at Ling Xiao with a faint smile. Ahem. Okay. I'm just a little surprised. I've never seen such a beautiful person before. Sorry, please lead the way, Lord War God. Ling Xiao felt his face turn red. No problem. Junior Martial Uncle, the ancestors have returned. Let's go. Lu Bai smiled indifferently. His smile seemed to dim the world and make all the flowers lose their color. Ling Xiao's heart couldn't help but tremble a few times. Too monstrous. If Lu Bai were to reveal his true appearance, countless people would go crazy over him. Ling Xiao suppressed the complicated emotions in his heart and flew towards the depths of the Battle Sky Sacred Realm with Lu Bai. Chapter 2018. In the Battle Sky Sacred Realm, the mountain range was undulating, and the ancient trees towered into the sky. It contained an incomparably powerful origin energy, more than 10 times that of the outside world. As a result, the various spiritual flowers and herbs here were exceptionally beautiful, containing an incomparably vast amount of energy essence. This place was filled with an ancient aura, as if it was the remains of an ancient mythical world, nurturing countless heavenly treasures. Along the way, Ling Xiao and Lu Bai saw herds of 5-colored deer running on the green grassland. They saw red-crowned cranes appearing on top of the white clouds. They saw a group of intelligent apes jumping and playing in the mountains. They saw a sea of flowers, a clear lake, and a forest that stretched as far as the eye could see. Everything here was filled with a refreshing aura of nature, without any traces of human activity. It was extremely close to the legendary Tao of nature. Ling Xiao and Lu Bai flew over the vast mountain range and stopped at a place with beautiful scenery. A wheat field appeared in front of them. The green wheat sprouts formed a green sea that stretched as far as the eye could see. As the wind blew, the gentle wind made one feel comfortable. There was a small path in the wheat field that led into the distance. 2 rows of willow trees were planted on both sides of the path. At this moment, all of them had sprouted new buds, and their leaves were green and glistening. It looked extremely peaceful. Let's go. Lu Bai said to Ling Xiao as he slowly stepped onto the path. Ling Xiao was a little confused. He didn't know why Lu Bai chose to walk instead of flying. However, he didn't ask much and followed Lu Bai along the path into the depths of the wheat field. Boom! When they walked into the wheat field, Ling Xiao immediately felt the void tremble slightly. In the surrounding wheat fields, incomparably pure life qi emerged and began to surge into his and Lu Bai's body. It was vast and majestic. Ling Xiao's physical body was strong, and his vitality was boundless. His life origin was already very strong. At this moment, after absorbing the life qi, he actually felt his physical body slowly strengthening. Even his lifespan had increased by a lot. What is this place? Ling Xiao's heart trembled. The pure life qi was like the most fundamental energy of life. It allowed the life secret technique in Ling Xiao's body to operate naturally. It was even more effective than consuming a powerful saint pill. Ling Xiao followed Lu Bai as they walked along the small path. It was as though they were going through a baptism. In the middle of the wheat field, Ling Xiao saw a very strange farmer. The farmer was tall and sturdy, with thick eyebrows and big eyes. He was hoeing the field with a hoe in his hand, cutting off the roots of the weeds in the wheat field before throwing them onto the small path. However, Ling Xiao saw that after the weeds were removed, they quickly grew back. The farmer looked extremely patient as he weeded the weeds over and over again. Ling Xiao did not sense any cultivation from the farmer, but he instinctively felt that this farmer was not ordinary. It was as if his entire being had merged with the wheat field before him. He had a mysterious temperament. Patriarch. Lu Bai looked at the farmer and bowed. It's Bai Yi. Is this junior nephew Qi Long's disciple, Ling Xiao? The farmer stopped and wiped the sweat off his face. He smiled at Lu Bai and Ling Xiao as if he was an old farmer in the mortal world. It was hard to believe that he was the ancestor of the war god temple. Greetings to ancestral master, I am Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao also bowed and said graciously. Ling Xiao couldn't sense any fluctuations of cultivation from the old farmer in front of him. It was as if he was no different from an ordinary person. Ling Xiao knew that the farmer's cultivation must be extremely terrifying. He might even be stronger than Lu Bai. Good. Very good. Junior Qi Long has indeed found a good successor. I didn't believe Bai Yi when he said that you were worthy of being the successor of the war god temple. Today, I know that Junior Qi Long did not find the wrong person. You are worthy of this responsibility. The farmer looked at Ling Xiao with a deep gaze, as if he could see through Ling Xiao from head to toe. Finally, he showed a trace of satisfaction. You flatter me, ancestral master. Ling Xiao said with a smile. I was in a hurry today, so I did not prepare a proper greeting gift. This ear of wheat is a gift to you. Ling Xiao, I hope you can be as vigorous as this ear of wheat. The farmer's palm flashed, and a green wheat ear flew over from the wheat field in the distance. It exuded a majestic vitality and was handed to Ling Xiao by the farmer. Thank you, ancestral master. Ling Xiao received it seriously. Junior martial uncle, this wheat ear is a spiritual seed of creation planted by the ancestral master. Only 2 or 3 have been cultivated in 10,000 years. No matter how serious your injuries are, as long as you consume this wheat ear, you will recover immediately. The ancestral master is very generous. Even I do not have the chance to obtain such a spiritual seed of creation. Lu Bai transmitted his voice to Ling Xiao. Spiritual seed of creation. Ling Xiao's heart trembled. He also knew about the spiritual seed of fortune. It was a supreme treasure that was created by the heavens and earth. It possessed all sorts of mysterious effects. For example, the wheat before him had the ability to revive the dead and regrow flesh and bones. Ling Xiao did not expect the farmer to be so generous. Little Bai Yi, are you talking bad about me again? Don't worry, I will not forget about you. The farmer looked at Lu Bai and threw another wheat ear to Lu Bai. Thank you, ancestral master. You are the best. Lu Bai said with a smile. All right, let's go. The 2 of you came to my wheat field. I don't know how many times I'll have to hoe the grass. I've suffered a great loss this time, a great loss. The farmer muttered to himself. Then, he picked up the hoe and walked into the green wheat field. His figure and aura had completely merged with the wheat field. Junior Martial Uncle, you have already received the Ancestral Master's recognition. Let's continue. Lu Bai smiled and led Ling Xiao through the wheat field. Then, they walked past a quiet little forest and came to a peaceful lake. A fisherman wearing a bamboo hat and a straw raincoat was sitting by the lake, fishing quietly with a bamboo pole in his hand. This fisherman looked very old. His face was full of wrinkles, as if he had been blown by the wind for tens of thousands of years. However, his eyes were extremely focused as he stared at the fishing pole in front of him. With the previous lesson, Ling Xiao guessed that this fisherman was probably one of the ancestral masters of the War God Temple. Chapter 2019. As expected, Lu Bai brought Ling Xiao to the side and did not disturb the fisherman. Not long after, Ling Xiao saw the fishing line jump slightly, and a few light ripples appeared on the surface of the water. Whoosh! The fisherman immediately raised his fishing rod, drawing a beautiful arc in the air. However, what surprised Ling Xiao was that he did not catch a fish as he had imagined. Fishing with a straight hook? How can a straight hook catch a fish? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with surprise. The fisherman's hook was actually straight. Even if a fish was about to take the bait, it would probably be scared away by the fisherman's actions in an instant. Little guy, who said you can't fish with a straight hook? It's just a matter of willingly taking the bait. Aren't you here today? The fisherman seemed to know what Ling Xiao was thinking. He spoke calmly and faintly, then slowly turned his head. The fisherman looked very old, and his face was full of wrinkles. However, his eyes were incomparably deep, as if they contained wisdom that could see through everything. He spoke very gently to Ling Xiao. Greetings, Ancestral Master. He is Ling Xiao. Lu Bai bowed to the fisherman. Nephew Qi Long's disciple. What an interesting little guy. Ling Xiao, do you know why I use a straight hook to fish? The fisherman smiled at Ling Xiao. Could it be that Ancestral Master is comprehending the great Tao of heaven and earth? Ling Xiao thought about it. No. The reason why I use a straight hook to fish is because I like it. In this world, there are not so many things that can be taken for granted. You just have to listen to your heart. As the saying goes, it's better to get something straight than to seek it in a crooked way. The fisherman shook his head, and his eyes were filled with deep meaning as he spoke. I've learned my lesson. Ling Xiao nodded. Although he had some complaints about the fisherman's deliberately mystifying actions, he also knew that experts all had some hobbies. He only treated it as a hobby of the fisherman's. It was indeed as he said, listening to your heart and following your heart. I'll give this hook to you as a greeting gift. Ling Xiao, you're going to meet Junior Brother Woodcutter next, right? However, Junior Brother Woodcutter is in a bad mood because he didn't capture that old brat Leibois. You have to be careful. The fisherman chuckled and handed Ling Xiao a silver hook. However, it was still a straight hook. It looked like a silver needle, shining with a bright light. Thank you for your reminder, Patriarch. Ling Xiao accepted it respectfully. This fish hook seemed to be something extraordinary. Even though Ling Xiao did not know how to use it, since it was a gift from the founder, it should not be anything ordinary. It had to be an extremely valuable treasure. Young Martial Uncle, this is the Wishful Heartless Hook. It's a powerful treasure that our patriarch used when he was young. It can transform into thousands of different forms and is extremely extraordinary. Lu Bai was very familiar with this hook, so he immediately explained to Ling Xiao through telepathy. Wishful Heartless Hook. This is an upper-grade holy treasure. It is mysterious and powerful. Even compared to the flipping sky seal, it is not much weaker. Ling Xiao thought to himself in shock. He had heard of the reputation of the Wishful Heartless Hook before. He did not expect the fisherman to give it to him directly. After the fisherman gave the gift, he continued to sit cross-legged in front of the small lake and fish. Ling Xiao and Lu Bai bowed silently to the fisherman and continued on their way. After walking past the quiet lake and a messy stone forest, Ling Xiao and Lu Bai finally arrived at a dense forest. Gotcha! There was a burly man wearing animal hide. His muscles were taut and his blood was vigorous. He was holding a huge axe and chopping down trees. The axe was incomparably sharp. Soon, he chopped down a towering ancient tree. When Ling Xiao saw this burly man, he immediately understood. This should be the woodcutter that the fisherman mentioned, the third patriarch of the war god hall. Patriarch, this is, Lu Bai bowed to the woodcutter, but before he could finish speaking, he was rudely interrupted by the woodcutter. I don't want to know who he is. Lu Bai, since you are the chosen successor, your strength should not be weak. How about this, as long as he can take 3 of my moves, I will admit that he is the future war god supreme. How about that? The woodcutter looked at Lu Bai indifferently. His gaze was extremely sharp, as if he did not take Ling Xiao seriously at all. 3 moves. Patriarch, aren't you making things difficult for him? After all, the difference in cultivation between you and Ling Xiao is too great. I'm afraid he can't even take one of your moves. Lu Bai said with a bitter smile. Don't worry. I will suppress my cultivation to the same level as him. If he can't even take 3 of my moves, then he should leave the war god's sacred realm obediently. My war god hall does not need such trash. The woodcutter said coldly. 3 moves. All right. Patriarch, let alone 3 moves, even if it is 30 or 300 moves, Ling Xiao, am not afraid. Ling Xiao smiled faintly as a bright light flashed in his eyes. If the woodcutter did not suppress his cultivation, even if Ling Xiao had the wordless heavenly book and the flipping sky seal, he would not be a match for the woodcutter. After all, the difference in cultivation was too great. It was like a baby holding a machete. No matter how hard he tried, he would not be a match for an adult. However, Ling Xiao was not afraid of anyone in the same realm as him. How arrogant! Take my first move, woodcutter. The woodcutter said coldly. Then, a blazing divine light flashed around his body. He suppressed his cultivation to the 7th revolution half-saint realm, and the axe in his hand shone with a cold light as it slashed towards Ling Xiao. The axe light was extremely sharp. It was as if Ling Xiao was an immovable tree. In an instant, thousands of axe lights slashed out, trying to kill Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao only felt that in front of that overwhelming axe light, his entire body seemed to have been fixed in place. There was no way for him to move at all. It was as if he could only face that axe light after axe light chopped at him. This is the power of time. Ling Xiao's body shook. He immediately felt that it was the power of time that had been added to his body. It was as if his entire body was fixed in place. His body could not keep up with the operation of his thoughts. Age of time, time deceleration. Ling Xiao did not hesitate to use the age of time. A strange light exuded from his body and rushed towards the axe light in front of him. Suddenly, the axe light seemed to have slowed down countless times in Ling Xiao's eyes as it slashed towards him slowly. At the same time, Ling Xiao also broke free from the shackles of the time force in an instant. His entire body moved through the air, and at the critical moment, he dodged the axe light that filled the sky. Chapter 2020. Rumble. Axe light fell from the sky, causing a violent explosion in the void. Then, it was annihilated with a loud bang. You've actually gotten your period? Not bad, not bad. Come, take another blow from my axe. Cut vegetables. The woodcutter's eyes revealed a trace of surprise. His interest in Ling Xiao grew. Suddenly, he laughed loudly. A fierce aura gushed out from his body. Then, he chopped at Ling Xiao with his axe. Gotcha! The black axe flew across the sky. In Ling Xiao's eyes, it seemed to have turned into 1,000 feet long. It exuded an ancient and terrifying aura. Axe light fell one after another. It was as if the Milky Way had turned upside down. It directly separated the void into countless pieces. Tens of thousands of axe lights slashed down, containing an extremely powerful spatial power. It was as if each axe light could separate a world. They intertwined with each other and were incomparably fierce, wanting to cut Ling Xiao into pieces as if he were cutting vegetables. This is the space power. A sharp glint flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes. That sharp axe light came from all directions, as if it had set off a void storm. He was like a small boat in a raging sea, shrouded in an endless storm. The woodcutter had indeed only used the cultivation of a 7th revolution half-saint. However, he was at least in the realm of a saint king. His comprehension of the Great Way was far beyond Ling Xiao's imagination. Even if a 9th revolution half-saint did not have a powerful trump card, he would probably die without a burial place. The more dangerous the situation was, the calmer Ling Xiao was. Thoughts flashed in his mind. Almost at the same time as the woodcutter attacked, he attacked at the same time. Rumble. Ling Xiao punched out. His blood and qi surged to the sky. The golden divine light condensed into a golden divine dragon behind him, enveloping his entire body. The golden fist print flew across the sky. It was filled with chaotic qi. It contained an invincible fist print that could split heaven and earth. It seemed to be surrounded by the illusory image of 3,000 Tao worlds. It made the fist ferocious and domineering. Ling Xiao's idea was very simple. Since he was no match for the woodcutter in terms of comprehension of the Great Way, he might as well give up all the use of the Great Way. He directly erupted with his strongest strength. As the saying went, one force could defeat 10 techniques. One force could break 10,000 techniques. Crack! The golden fist print collided with the axe light in the sky. A blazing light burst out. The axe light was incomparably sharp. It broke through the layers of chaotic qi and directly chopped on Ling Xiao's fist. It pierced his flesh and made his hand a bloody mess in an instant. However, when the axe light penetrated deep into Ling Xiao's bones, it was unable to penetrate any further. The sound of metal clashing could be heard as the axe light collided violently. Ling Xiao's bones shone with a resplendent golden light, sparkling and translucent, as though they were made of gold. Unparalleled fist imprints surged out, and finally, the axe light was blasted apart. Although Ling Xiao's hand was badly mangled, his expression did not change at all. His battle-intent soared, and his gaze was extremely sharp. He was like an invincible emperor who could sweep through the 9 heavens and 10 earths, causing people's hearts to tremble. Rumble. The axe light that filled the sky was directly blasted apart by Ling Xiao's fist. Although there was a little bit of blood on Ling Xiao's fist, it made him even more ferocious. What a powerful fist intent. It's somewhat similar to the Celestial Emperor fist of the 9 layers Imperial Obelisk. Very good, kid. I'm starting to think more and more highly of you. However, my last move is not that easy to take. If you're killed by me, then it's your bad luck. Kid, are you ready? The woodcutter was not surprised, but delighted. His gaze became more and more excited. His battle-intent soared, and his aura began to soar. As he stood there, it was as if the entire world was under his control. Every move he made seemed to possess an unfathomable power. Ancestral Master, although you're only using the cultivation of a 7th revolution half-saint, your realm is too high. The battle strength that you can unleash can even reach the level of an ordinary saint. This is too unfair to Ling Xiao. Lu Bai said with a wry smile. Although the ancestral master woodcutter in front of him looked ordinary, Lu Bai knew that he was the pillar of the war god temple. He was known as the space-time Saint King, and his strength was terrifying. The gap between him and Ling Xiao was still too big. Fair? How can there be absolute fairness in this world? This world respects the strong. No matter how many excuses the weak have, they're all excuses. Besides, do you really think that he's no match for me? Ancestral Master Woodcutter said with a faint smile, and a wisp of wisdom appeared in his eyes. Ancestral Master, I'm ready. Come. Ling Xiao said seriously. His body was filled with a majestic life force, and the injury on his fist was instantly healed. The aura around him rose, and a mysterious aura erupted. Ling Xiao seemed to have disappeared into the void, and there was an illusory aura of destiny around him. That's the art of reversing Red Dragon. Very good. I'd like to see how talented you are in the art of reversing fate. Take my third move, head cleaving. The woodcutter felt the strange aura fluctuation from Ling Xiao's body, and his eyes flashed slightly. The aura around him surged, and divine light danced in his eyes. The axe in his hand flashed with rays of light, and then it spun in the void and flew towards Ling Xiao. The axe light was dazzling, and it went straight for Ling Xiao's head. This is the power of karma. Ling Xiao's body trembled, and he was extremely shocked. Previously, the woodcutter had revealed the power of time and space, which was enough to shock him, but he didn't expect the woodcutter to know the power of karma of Buddhism. The axe light came towards Ling Xiao, and Ling Xiao had a vague feeling that the axe would definitely chop his neck, and it would definitely chop his head off. If his battle with the woodcutter was the cause, then the axe chopping off his head was the effect. In a way, the power of karma was similar to the reincarnation of fate. Wang! The axe light was blazing, and its speed wasn't fast. When it flew towards Ling Xiao, it made his hair stand on end, and he felt a fatal danger. Defying fate. Ling Xiao roared, and the battle intent around him rose to the extreme. The vast power in his body gushed out, and in an instant, a river of destiny seemed to appear behind him, surging endlessly. The surrounding void became distorted. Ling Xiao stepped on the ground and pushed out with both hands, and the vast river of destiny seemed to flow in reverse. An extremely vast power of the way of the heavens erupted, and it surged towards the woodcutter. Ling Xiao felt a great threat, so he directly used the third move of the art of reversing fate, and breaking reincarnation. Boom! Chapter 2021. The axe light was incomparably blazing, blooming with boundless light, as if it was going to split the heavens and earth in half. With an even more terrifying force, it directly chopped at the woodcutter's neck. Clang! Sparks flew in all directions. The woodcutter's neck seemed to be cast in gold. The axe light couldn't even break his skin. Then, the woodcutter stretched out 2 fingers and caught it. The axe trembled violently, but it couldn't escape from the woodcutter's grasp. The woodcutter stared at Ling Xiao, not concealing the admiration in his eyes, and said, "Good. Very good. I didn't expect your talent in the life-reversing technique to be no weaker than Qilong. The War God Temple is lucky to have you. Thank you for your praise, Ancestral Master. Ancestral Master, your combat strength is unparalleled. If not for Ancestral Master going easy on me, let alone 3 moves, I wouldn't even be able to take 1 move." Ling Xiao smiled faintly. "Alright, you don't have to flatter me anymore. This time, I let that old man Lei Bo escape, but I shouldn't vent my anger on you. I think you've obtained the inheritance of the Age of Time, right? Coincidentally, I also have a time compass here. I'll give it to you as a greeting gift," the woodcutter said with a carefree smile. Then, a light flashed in his palm, and a pitch-black compass appeared, exuding powerful fluctuations of time. Time compass. Thank you, Ancestral Master. I didn't expect Ancestral Master to have such a treasure. Ling Xiao's eyes suddenly revealed a trace of surprise. He accepted it without hesitation and couldn't bear to part with it. He already had 2 time compasses in his hands. Now that he had 1 more, he would have 3 time compasses in his hands. This would give Ling Xiao a great advantage in competing for the inheritance of the flowing time Great Emperor. According to Uncle Su's deduction, there should be 9 time compasses. They were replicas of the Supreme Emperor weapon, the time compass. They were also the tokens to unlock the inheritance of the flowing time Great Emperor. I also snatched it from an old man in the space-time Heavenly Gate. However, this is only a replica of the time compass. It's not a very precious treasure. At most, it's equivalent to a middle-grade sage artifact. However, the scroll of the Flowing Time Emperor hidden within it is not bad and has benefited me greatly. Now, I'm giving it to you. I hope that you can snatch the Flowing Time Emperor's inheritance from the hands of the Space-Time Heavenly Gate. The woodcutter chuckled. Yes. Ling Xiao nodded seriously. He sent a strand of his primordial spirit into the time compass. Instantly, he felt the power of time permeating the time compass. A golden scripture floated in the air, containing mysterious ripples. It was the half-year menstruation. Huh. This Sutra of Time actually contains the power to stop time. However, there seems to be something different about it. It even gave rise to the laws of time distortion and time prison, and it just so happens to complement the Time Sutra that I obtained. Ling Xiao thought to himself. With this scroll, one could imagine that Ling Xiao's comprehension of the power of time would improve by leaps and bounds, reaching a whole new level. Junior Martial Uncle, come with me. Lu Baiyi said with a smile. The two of them bid farewell to the woodcutter and continued towards the depths of the Battle Sky Sacred Realm. After passing through the forest, Lu Baiyi brought Ling Xiao to the front of an ancient mountain. This mountain looked very ordinary. It was only a few thousand feet high. It was bare without any trees, but it was extremely steep. It was like a heavy sword piercing the sky. Junior Martial Uncle, do you know why I want to bring you to see the three patriarchs? Lu Baiyi stopped in front of the mountain and said slowly to Ling Xiao. Could it be some kind of test? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat as he asked. That's right. The Battle Sky Secret Technique is the foundation of the Battle God Temple. Only with the approval of the three patriarchs can one comprehend the Battle Sky Secret Technique. Now that the three patriarchs have approved of you, you are qualified to comprehend the Battle Sky Secret Technique. Lu Baiyi said with a faint smile. Battle Sky Secret Technique? Could it be in this mountain? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat as he said excitedly. That's right. The Battle Sky Secret Technique is hidden in this mountain. Go up yourself. What you can obtain will depend on your luck. Lu Baiyi said as he pointed at the mountain in front of him. The bare mountain had a winding path that extended from the foot of the mountain to the top. Although it looked very ordinary, there were clouds and mist at the top of the mountain, making it look ethereal and peaceful. Thank you, Lord Battle God. Ling Xiao nodded. He then took a deep breath and walked forward. Buzz. When Ling Xiao set foot on the first stone step, he felt the space around him tremble. A mysterious aura permeated the surroundings, as if strands of chaotic qi had seeped out from the mountain, coiling around him. Lu Baiyi, who was behind him, disappeared in an instant. Ling Xiao walked up the winding stone steps slowly to the top of the mountain. Rumble. The clouds and mist around him were ethereal and chaotic, forming a mysterious scene around Ling Xiao. It was as if he was in the primeval times. The scene was extremely shocking. Gods and demons that were tens of thousands of feet tall were fighting with each other on the vast and ancient land. Every blow could knock down stars and destroy mountains. The momentum was extremely terrifying. Ling Xiao could even clearly see the scarlet eyes of those gods and demons, their heavy breathing, and the tiny blood vessels under their skin. Every movement of those gods and demons was incomparably clear. Kill. Fight. 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 If the gods stop me, I will kill the gods. If the demons stop me, I will kill the demons. If the heavens stop me, I will destroy shrouding heaven. The roars rose and fell one after another, making Ling Xiao feel his blood boiling. It was as if he had witnessed the great war of gods and demons in the ancient times. Those powerful figures all had an incomparably strong fighting spirit. Their attacks were also incomparably fierce, as if they could destroy this part of the world. Huge bodies fell into pools of blood, turning into mountains and lakes on the ground. Ling Xiao felt as if he had come to the ancient times and personally experienced this vast war. However, Ling Xiao was just a passerby. Although he saw those vivid scenes, he was observing from the perspective of a bystander. As he did not take a step forward, the world of the great war of gods and demons in the ancient times gradually faded away. Roar! Roar! The roars of dragons and tigers shook the sky. The figures of the ancient gods and demons disappeared. Ling Xiao saw the scene of the great war of demons in the ancient times. The supreme divine dragon that was millions of feet long, the ancestral phoenix that could burn the sky and destroy the earth, the white tiger that was overflowing with killing intent, and the black tortoise that supported the heaven and earth. Endless roars of divine beasts, the battle between them was incomparably fierce. Just like this, every step Ling Xiao took, it was as if he had experienced the reincarnation of a great war. He saw countless scenes of the great war in the ancient times. Even the stars fell, the earth was sunk, the flood was overflowing, and the flames burned the sky. Chapter 2022. The ancient mountain peak seemed to contain some kind of mark from the antiquity times. It was filled with the fluctuations of time, allowing Ling Xiao to experience the scenes of countless battles since the antiquity times. Just like that, Ling Xiao walked to the top of the mountain step by step. His body was filled with a strong fighting spirit, and his aura had also reached its peak. Boom! The top of the mountain looked extremely empty and lonely. The sea of clouds was faintly discernible, and above his head was a huge star. Dazzling starlight sprinkled down and gathered on Ling Xiao's body, as if it was reflecting the acupoints all over his body. The dazzling starlight began to surge into Ling Xiao's body. A warm aura enveloped Ling Xiao's body, and when he carefully observed the starry sky above his head, he immediately discovered the mystery within. Boom! The void trembled slightly, and a strange fluctuation spread out. The huge stars in the void began to slide in the void, turning into ancient talismans that appeared in front of Ling Xiao. The starry sky was vast, and the starlight was dazzling. In the entire starry sky, countless stars in the starry sky turned into a mysterious scripture in Ling Xiao's eyes. This is the heaven battling secret skill. Ling Xiao's heart trembled. His eyes did not blink as he stared at the starry sky in front of him. Rumble! Ling Xiao's fighting spirit rose like a blazing pillar of divine light. It intertwined with the starry sky, forming a mysterious connection. Led by Ling Xiao's fighting spirit, a dazzling huge star suddenly fell from the sky. The huge star directly turned into a long stream of light and fell into Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness, forming an ancient and mysterious talisman. Fight! It was the word fight, ancient and mysterious, as if it was chanted by the ancestors of antiquity times. It also seemed to be a word created by the first supreme great emperor at the beginning of the world. It contained the mystery of heaven and earth, intertwined with Tao and truth. As Ling Xiao's fighting spirit rose, huge stars fell from the void one after another, falling into Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness, gradually forming a supreme scripture. Heaven battling secret skill. Battle the heavens and destroy the earth, primordial chaos unity, unrivaled primordial chaos, idealism of the heavenly Tao, good fortune spirit charging, primordial chaos body tempering, breaking the heavens, I am unrivaled. The mysterious scripture rang in Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness like a huge bell. It was ancient and mysterious. Every time it vibrated, Ling Xiao's primordial spirit would also vibrate. Wang! The wordless heavenly book seemed to have sensed the aura of the heaven battling secret skill. It exuded an extremely excited fluctuation and directly rushed out of Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness, floating above his head. The void shook violently. The wordless heavenly book spread out and turned into a vast star chart. The stars in the 9 heavens fell down one after another, as if they were returning to the origin, forming a complete secret technique of fighting the heavens. Ling Xiao seemed to have entered the deepest state of cultivation. He was enveloped by the true meaning of the heaven battling secret technique and began to slowly comprehend its supreme power. Boom! Ling Xiao sat cross-legged on top of the mountain. His body was surrounded by a blazing golden glow. He breathed out heavenly essence, and every breath he took was like a thunderbolt. He absorbed the starlight and vast energy into his body, slowly refining his physical body. Chaotic qi rose up in Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness. A pure and powerful fighting spirit erupted from the depths of his primordial spirit. Crack! The chaos exploded. Ling Xiao's entire body expanded by over 10,000 times in the chaos, turning into a towering figure. He stood tall and radiated with endless energy. The chaos in the surroundings shook. Clear air rose and turbid air sank. A vast and ancient world was created. Afterwards, yin, yang, and the 5 elements separated, creating all living beings and even countless chaotic god fiends. Ling Xiao grabbed a sun and tossed it into his mouth. Immediately, the endless light and heat were refined by him, becoming part of his nourishment. His feet trembled and the starry sky immediately dimmed. The power of the stars in the boundless galaxy was swallowed into his stomach. He seemed to be able to pluck the stars and take the moon with every move he made. He was extremely powerful. There was an endless war between the gods and demons in the chaos. Ling Xiao also entered the battlefield and fought until he went crazy. He killed billions of gods and demons and condensed an immortal supreme fighting soul. This feeling was incomparably wondrous. Ling Xiao felt as if he had entered the life of another person, experiencing their joys and sorrows. He had battled the heavens and the earth for his entire life. His immortal soul had left an eternal mark in the world. Legend has it that the heaven battling secret technique has an extremely wonderful connection with the ancient War Emperor. Could this be the life of the War Emperor? Ling Xiao thought to himself. In such a state, his comprehension of the heaven battling secret technique began to improve by leaps and bounds. Buzz! There were already 7 lines on Ling Xiao's fate chart, which represented that his cultivation was at the 7th revolution half-saint realm. That was the mark left behind by the 7 nirvana tribulations. However, at this moment, as Ling Xiao comprehended the heaven fighting secret skill, a mysterious tribulation chi gushed out from his body. His body actually cracked like a mirror, as if it would turn into dust at any time. The nirvana tribulation had arrived. Ling Xiao's body went from being destroyed to being restored to its original state. His life essence went from being withered to being majestic and vigorous. It was like a withering and flourishing process. It was so fast that it was almost completed in an instant. I have passed the 8th nirvana tribulation. No. My cultivation hasn't improved. It's still at the 7th revolution half-saint realm. Ling Xiao's heart suddenly jolted. He saw that one of the 7 runes on his fate chart had turned pure gold, exuding an ancient, mysterious and majestic aura. What's going on? Ling Xiao was a little surprised and confused. The other 6 runes were still gray and showed a chaotic color. However, the change in this rune was very obvious. Could it be, because I obtained the heaven battling secret technique, my nirvana tribulation was strengthened again? Ling Xiao thought to himself. Although he didn't understand what was going on, he knew that this change wouldn't do him any harm. On the contrary, it had increased his strength by quite a bit. Whoosh! Ling Xiao took a deep breath. There was a faint golden lightning in his lungs. It was dazzling, causing his breath to exude the aura of wind and thunder. His aura was getting stronger and stronger. A supreme battle intent condensed on his body, causing his soul to begin to exude an immortal aura. He actually comprehended the heaven battling secret technique so quickly. This kid is really a person with great luck. In the heaven battling saint realm, the woodcutter who was chopping firewood suddenly raised his head, revealing a trace of surprise in his eyes. Chapter 2023. The divine world was vast and boundless, and it was divided into 36 heavens. The upper 3 heavens were the Tai Ching heavens, the Yu Qing heavens, and the Shangqing heavens. They were the locations of the 12 immortal sacred lands, and they were the closest to the origin of the divine world. Although the upper 3 heavens was very close to the core of the divine world, it was still not the core of the divine world. The Daluo territory was the center of the divine world. If the divine world was a huge circular continent, then the Daluo territory would be the center of the circle. It was the core of the divine world, and it contained the purest origin energy. The Daluo territory was the core of the divine world, and it was also the passage between the divine world and the other worlds. However, after the Great Divine Demon War in the ancient times, the passage was completely closed, and the great Emperor clans were guarding the Daluo territory. The Emperor clans were reclusive, and the 12 immortal sacred lands were the rulers of the divine world. However, the Emperor clan's foundation and strength were not to be underestimated, and they were not weaker than the 12 immortal sacred lands. After all, they were the descendants of the 9 emperors of the human clan, and their foundation and strength were unfathomable. The people of the Emperor clans were naturally arrogant, and they thought that they were the masters of the divine world. The Hua clan was located in the Daluo territory. Tens of thousands of sacred mountains rose from the ground, and they were shrouded in endless auspicious gas and light. There was a powerful array fluctuation, and mysterious symbols lingered around it. It emitted an aura fluctuation that would make a saint's scalp tingle. The Hua clan had a long history, and even among the Emperor clans, their strength was ranked in the top 3. In the depths of the folded void, on top of a mountain, an old man with white hair and beard sat cross-legged. He was dressed in hemp clothes, and his eyebrows and beard were on the ground. His aura was unfathomable, and every breath he took caused the heavens and earth to fluctuate with him, and the sun, moon, and stars were flickering. At this moment, Hua Tianqiong and Hua Yan were kneeling respectfully in front of the old man, and their faces were filled with reverence. "Are you saying that you found the aura of the Panga clan in the War God Temple?" The old man said faintly, and his eyes were slightly closed. His voice was incomparably ethereal. "That's right. Forefather, I sensed the bloodline aura of the Panga clan on War Mountain, but it has already left. According to my investigation, Tian Gang, who was promoted from Ares College to Battle Hall, is most likely a remnant of the Panga clan. Furthermore, his bloodline aura is incomparably pure. He should be a core member of the clan." Hua Yan said respectfully. "Very good." After hiding for so many years, the Panga clan had finally shown up. This time, the treasure was most likely going to be born. Keep a close eye on them. Once you find any survivors of the Panga clan, capture them alive. The old man said slowly. "Yes. Ancestor, what should we do with Long Outyen?" Hua Yan nodded seriously, then asked hesitantly. "Long Outyen?" This child was a variable. Now that the heavenly mysteries were in chaos, even the Fortune Shrine sky-gazing elder couldn't find any information about him. This child was definitely hiding a great secret. Go and investigate him carefully, from the moment he first appeared in the divine realm, no matter how big or small, see if you can find any loopholes. I have some suspicions in my heart, but I can't be sure. No matter what, whether it's Long Outyen or the War God Temple, anyone who dares to challenge the dignity of the Chinese will have to pay a sufficient price." The old man suddenly opened his eyes. There was a blazing sharpness in his eyes that seemed to be able to burn the void in front of him. "Forefather, I must personally torture Long Outyen to death, only then can I vent the hatred in my heart." Hua Tianqiong suddenly raised his head and said, his eyes full of hatred. The old man in linen was Hua Tianqiong's direct ancestor. He usually gave Hua Tianqiong a lot of guidance, so he was more casual in front of the old man than Hua Yan. "Long Outyen is nothing to worry about. Tianqiong, the chosen one is about to begin. You have accumulated a lot of strength, but it's still a little difficult to break through to the 3rd stage of heaven treading before the chosen one. During this time, follow me and cultivate by my side." The old man in linen said indifferently. "Thank you, Forefather." Hua Tianqiong's eyes revealed a hint of joy as he quickly said. "Yes. Before the chosen one begins, don't get into an open conflict with the War God Temple. The Chinese still need to bide our time and wait for the arrival of the Emperor. As for the War God Temple, they won't be able to jump around for long." The old man in linen said. "The arrival of the Emperor? Could it be?" Hua Yan and Hua Tianqiong trembled, and their eyes were filled with incomparable reverence. "That's right. Tianqiong, you must work hard to cultivate. If you can break through to the third stage of heaven treading, you might be able to become the emperor's follower. At that time, your future will be limitless. So, don't let an ant affect your Taoist heart, understand? The old man in linen glanced at Hua Tianxiong and seemed to be reminding him. Yes, forefather. Hua Tianxiong's heart skipped a beat, and he immediately said seriously. Heavenly Curse Sect. In an ancient hall filled with clouds and mist, Yuan Qing stood in front of a young man in white and told him what happened in the War God Temple. The young man looked extraordinarily handsome. His black hair was draped over his shoulders, and his skin was as clear as jade. His entire body exuded a transcendent and ethereal aura. However, his eyes seemed to have experienced the vicissitudes of life, and there were mysterious symbols flickering in them, making him seem even more mysterious. Although Yuan Qing couldn't sense any aura from the young man, he knew that the young man was the true ruler of the Heavenly Curse Sect, the sect master of the Heavenly Curse Sect. He was an antique who had lived for countless years and was far from as young as he looked. Have you found out everything? The young man said indifferently. Sect master, although we can't be completely sure, Long Outyen should know where Ji Feishuan is. If we can capture Long Outyen, we'll definitely be able to get information about Zhou Tian's life and death mirror. Yuan Qing said slowly. Capture Long Outyen? How? He's only a half-step saint, but he can fight with Lei Xuanji. This Long Outyen is not simple. He must have a big secret. Investigate him carefully, and don't alert the enemy. The young man said indifferently. Yes, sect master. However, this Long Outyen shouldn't be underestimated. I have a feeling that if he grows up, he'll be a great enemy of our Heavenly Curse Sect. If we can eliminate him, we'll have to do it as soon as possible. Yuan Qing said, and there was a trace of blazing killing intent in his eyes. It doesn't matter. We don't have to do it. Since such a monster has appeared in the War God Temple, I'm afraid someone is more anxious than us. He won't live for long. The young man said with a faint smile. However, his smile was extremely cold, and there was a bone-chilling intent hidden in it. Chapter 2024. Ling Xiao was in seclusion in the Battle Sky Sage realm. After eliminating Lei Xuanji and Lei Bo, the War God Temple proceeded to clean up the entire Thunder Palace, uprooting all the remaining demons that were hiding in the palace. Although the experts of the Thunder Hall were almost completely annihilated, and the entire War God Hall had suffered a great blow, everyone from the War God Hall had erupted with unprecedented cohesion. Ling Xiao had become the idol of all the disciples of the War God Shrine. He had crushed Yang Wen of the Heavenly Curse Sect and Hua Tianxiong of the Chinese, scolded the saints and fought Lei Xuanji to a standstill. His peerless demeanor had been deeply imprinted in everyone's heart. Even the original three holy princes, Ni Shang, Gao Yang, and Wu Xiong, were overshadowed by Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao had truly become the spiritual leader of the War God Temple, fully deserving of the title of Little God of War. Many disciples erupted with an incomparably high passion for cultivation, and their battle intent soared. An unyielding heart began to awaken, causing the fortune of the War God Temple to become even more majestic and vigorous. At the same time, the entire divine world was also somewhat shaken by the storm. In the various heavens of the divine world, the remnants of the demon clan were constantly appearing, causing endless slaughter. The experts of the 12 immortal holy lands were alarmed, and they sent out powerful disciples and elders to the various heavens to suppress the remnants of the demon clan. In the divine world, the forbidden lands that had been passed down since the ancient times began to have a great commotion. Immortal light illuminated the 9 heavens, chaotic chi shrouded the land, forming a chaotic domain. Even powerful ferocious beasts were awakened, and their roars shook the heavens all around. There were constantly legends of ancient monstrous geniuses appearing in the world, and everywhere revealed the aura of an impending storm. Some people saw a 10,000 zhang tall purple divine sun rising from the East Sea, and a man with purple hair fluttering in the wind flew out from the divine sun, swallowing the essence of heaven and earth. Purple flames rose around his body, burning the rivers and boiling the sea. His aura was monstrous to the heavens. Some people also saw a huge snowy mountain collapse in the extreme north, revealing an immortal mysterious ice coffin. Many people were alarmed by the aura of the ice coffin, and wanted to open it. In the end, a peerless beauty walked out from the ice coffin, and with just a glance, everyone was frozen into ice sculptures. Some people even saw endless lightning intertwining in the great swamp of the west, and the destructive lightning that could destroy the sky, and a mysterious young man was born from it. He opened his mouth and swallowed the lightning that had been nurtured in the great swamp of the west for countless years. Countless ancient monstrous geniuses appeared in the divine world one after another. The divine world became even more bustling. The most shocking news of them all came from the Nine. Legend had it that a peerless genius who called himself the Son of Heaven came to the 9 imperial gates and claimed to be the son of the celestial emperor. He swept through all the geniuses in the 9 imperial gates, and even the saint patriarchs in the 9 imperial gates couldn't do anything to him. In the end, a saint king ancestor of the 9th imperial palace personally spoke with Tianzi for a long time. He directly announced to the entire 9th imperial palace that Tianzi was the son of heaven monarch and also the young master recognized by the 9th imperial palace. He was about to rebuild the ancient heavenly court and recruit followers. At the same time, Tianzi also took out many supreme saint treasures, peerless saint techniques, and even imperial scriptures as rewards. Suddenly, countless experts became excited and rushed towards the imperial obelisk, gathering under Tianzi's command. Many sages who had seen the heavenly son admitted that although the heavenly son had yet to become a sage, his battle prowess was comparable to that of a sage. He was even hailed as the #1 heaven's pride in the entire god realm. And the title of #1 naturally aroused the unwillingness of countless people. It wasn't just the geniuses of the 12 immortal holy lands, but there were also some rogue cultivators and even people from the emperor clans that attacked. In the end, all of them were defeated by Tianzi. Moreover, they were sincerely convinced that Tianzi was the #1 chosen of heaven. For a time, the emperor's name became more and more famous. He seemed to be able to suppress the world and become invincible. The god realm was becoming more and more chaotic. Many saints with profound cultivation could smell a hint of a storm approaching. Ling Xiao had been in seclusion in the Battle Sky Sage realm for 10 years. This could be said to be the longest seclusion Ling Xiao had had since he came to the god realm. In these 10 years, under the leadership of Lu Wenzheng, Void Pierce, and Chong He, the Battle Temple's strength had increased by leaps and bounds. They had recruited many talented disciples and become more prosperous. Fengya, Hu Zi, Tai Niu, Min Rou, Wang Lin, and the others' cultivation had also increased by leaps and bounds with the help of the Saint Liquid and Origin pills left behind by Ling Xiao. All of them had reached the half-step saint realm. The speed of their breakthroughs had left the other people in the sect somewhat dumbfounded. Especially the Black Donkey. After swallowing a large amount of Origin pills, his cultivation had skyrocketed. In just 10 years, he had actually passed several nirvana tribulations and his cultivation had directly reached the 7th revolution half-step saint realm. The Black Donkey had become the second person in the entire Battle Temple besides Ling Xiao to reach the high-level half-step saint realm. This caused this guy to be very proud of himself and call himself the eldest senior brother of Battle Temple. In the Battle Sky Sage realm, Ling Xiao had been sitting cross-legged on the mountain peak for 10 years. Blazing divine light rose around his body. Numerous stars intertwined and mysterious Taoist rhymes lingered around him. His aura became ethereal and otherworldly. Rumble. Blazing lightning flickered above Ling Xiao's head. There were blazing flames, violent storms, and scenes of a great battle between gods and devils. They intertwined to form Taoist rhymes and formed an incomparably mysterious formation diagram. Blood qi surged around his body. His black hair was like a waterfall, dense and lustrous. It fluttered in the wind. Faint dragon roars could be heard from his body. His body glowed and his aura was incomparably powerful. Kacha. Suddenly, Ling Xiao opened his eyes. 2 rays of golden light shot out from his eyes. They were like divine swords that pierced through the sky, causing the void to tremble slightly. So this is the Battle Sky secret technique, or should I call it the Battle Sky merit? Ling Zhao's eyes revealed a trace of understanding. Rumble. Blazing divine light flickered in his hands. In an instant, an ancient and vast aura erupted. Runes rose from his palms. Heaven and earth shook. In an instant, a black ancient seal soared into the sky and fell into the distance. Flipping Sky Seal. Ling Zhao had used the Battle Sky secret technique to derive the true meaning of the Flipping Sky Seal. Unparalleled power erupted, causing the void in the distance to explode. Cracks appeared in the void. Rumble. Blazing flames spewed out from Ling Zhao's body. Chaotic mist rose. He was like a saint emperor of flames, erupting with incomparably terrifying energy fluctuations. Chapter 2025. Flame Emperor Cauldron. The ancient cauldron in front of him was the Flame Emperor Cauldron that Ling Zhao had seen at Zhao Ritian's place. However, as Ling Zhao had used the Flame Emperor Cauldron once, he had a certain understanding of the Flame Emperor Cauldron's extreme emperor aura. Hence, the Flame Emperor Cauldron that he created with the Heaven Battling secret skill had some of the Flame Emperor Cauldron's majesty and power. Rumble. The heavens and earth trembled violently. Ling Zhao used the secret art of heaven battling, and a powerful fighting will burst from his body. It was like a vast heavenly pillar that shot into the sky, as if it could shatter the heavens all around. Blazing divine light gushed out. His blood chi filled the air, and the way around him permeated the air. He continued to use this supreme celestial art to evolve all kinds of supreme divine powers. The more Ling Zhao comprehended the heaven battling secret skill, the more shocked he was. The heaven battling secret skill was also known as the heaven battling technique. It was an extreme battle saint technique that could create various heaven battling secret skills and turn them into one's strongest combat strength. It was extremely terrifying. The heaven battling secret skill was a peerless killing technique. Be it the heaven swallowing secret skill, the life secret skill, the death secret skill, or the teleportation secret skill that Ling Zhao had obtained previously, strictly speaking, were not true killing techniques. They could only assist Ling Zhao in battle. However, the heaven battling secret skill was different. To Ling Zhao, it was the first exceptional heaven battling technique that he had truly obtained. Although Ling Zhao's cultivation had not improved in the past 10 years, his understanding of the heaven battling secret skill had reached an extremely high level. Using the heaven battling secret skill to evolve the Flipping Sky Seal, the Yen Emperor Tripod, and other peerless magic weapons had multiplied his battle strength. I didn't expect to stay in the heaven battling sacred realm for so long. I wonder what's going on in the outside world. Ling Zhao muttered to himself with a hint of anticipation in his eyes. Swoosh! He directly soared into the sky and turned into a divine rainbow as he traversed the void and left the heaven battling sacred realm. After comprehending the heaven battling secret skill, Ling Zhao already had the right to enter and exit the heaven battling sacred realm as he wished. War God Hall. On the square between the 9 sacred mountains, Ni Shang wore a feathered robe. Her skin was jade-like jade, and her figure was graceful. She was extremely beautiful, exuding an extremely powerful aura. Standing behind Ni Shang were Wu Xiong and Gao Yang, as well as some disciples of the combat god Hall. At this moment, her eyes were filled with a grave expression as she stared at the figures in front of her. Her fighting spirit soared as if she was facing a great enemy. Opposite Ni Shang stood a young man and woman. The man was wearing golden armor and had a burly figure. His reddish-gold hair danced in the wind and there was a blazing light shooting out from his eyes. It was extremely frightening. The woman was wearing a purple dress. She was tall and slender, and her face was beautiful and refined. However, she looked very cold at the moment, and her whole body exuded a kind of condescending arrogance. Both of them were at the peak of the 9th Revolution half-saint realm. Their strength was unparalleled. Moreover, their temperament was ethereal and otherworldly. They had a kind of lofty attitude. Ni Shang, it's your fortune that the Son of Heaven has taken a liking to you. Why are you so ignorant? The man in the golden armor said indifferently. His voice was very calm. Tuobayu, you are also the holy son of the 9 imperial obelisk. You are actually willing to be a servant of an unknown person. What a disappointment. Ni Shang sneered coldly. Speaking of which, Ni Shang was quite familiar with the man in golden armor. After all, the 9 imperial obelisk and the war god temple were still considered allies on the surface. Tuobayu was the strongest person in the 9 imperial obelisk's generation. He was at the peak of the 9th revolution half-saint realm. Legend had it that he was only half a step away from becoming a saint. Tuobayu and Ni Shang could be considered acquaintances and had done some missions together. However, Ni Shang did not expect that Tuobayu would claim that he had brought the Son of Heaven's decree to make Ni Shang a follower of the Son of Heaven. Ni Shang was naturally unwilling, which led to the current confrontation. Ni Shang, I am the Son of Heaven's follower, not a servant. You will never know how powerful the Son of Heaven is. If you miss today's opportunity, even if you kneel down and beg the Son of Heaven in the future, he will not look at you at all. This is your only chance. You have to think carefully. Tuobayu's eyes turned cold, and his expression was somewhat ugly as he spoke coldly. There's no need to think. I, Ni Shang, will not follow anyone. No matter how powerful the Son of Heaven is, it has nothing to do with me. The 9 imperial obelisk is willing to bend the knee, but the war god temple is not willing. Ni Shang said resolutely. An ant will always be an ant. You will never know the greatness of the divine dragon. It is your fortune to be chosen by the Son of Heaven. It is also the fortune of the entire war god temple. Since you do not know how to appreciate favors, I'm afraid the war god temple will disappear forever soon. The purple-robed lady, who had been silent all this while, laughed coldly. What ant? What divine dragon? That dog's hit Son of Heaven thinks too highly of himself. I think you are simply too arrogant. You came to the war god temple and said that the Son of Heaven wants to marry senior sister Ni Shang. Do you think he is worthy? Wu Xiong was instantly enraged as he spoke with an unfriendly expression. That's right. What does it have to do with you who senior sister Ni Shang wants to marry? Don't flaunt your prowess here. Hurry up and scram. Otherwise, you will not be able to leave the war god temple. Gao Yang said with a cold smile. Everyone in the war god temple revealed a trace of anger in their eyes. The Son of Heaven was actually so frivolous and shameless. He actually allowed 2 of his subordinates to summon Ni Shang. This made the disciples of the war god temple, who viewed Ni Shang as the perfect goddess in their hearts, completely enraged. Noisy. Is the Son of Heaven's greatness something that you ants can casually speculate about? If you dare to disrespect him again, you will be killed without mercy. The purple-robed lady's eyes flashed with killing intent as she spoke coldly. The aura around her body surged as the peak of the 9th revolution half-saint realm erupted. The mighty great Yin finger chi gushed out, causing everyone to involuntarily shiver as if they would be frozen at any time. Who does the Son of Heaven think he is? If Marshal Uncle Long is here, he can suppress him with one hand. Gao Yang laughed coldly. Long Outyen? Are you talking about the Long Outyen who is rumored to be able to fight evenly with Lei Xuanji of the Saint Realm? He, my Son of Heaven is also somewhat interested in him and wants to recruit him as a follower. I have brought along the decree. Unfortunately, this lad is too cowardly. He has not appeared for 10 years in the name of seclusion. Such a person dares to say that he can suppress the Son of Heaven. He is truly ignorant and arrogant. The purple-robed lady laughed coldly. Senior Sister Zening is right. I think the war god temple is deliberately exaggerating that Long Outyen. There is no need for the Son of Heaven to personally take action. If that Long Outyen dares to appear, I will suppress him directly. Tuobayu said disdainfully. He had also heard of Ling Xiao's reputation. However, the battle between Ling Xiao and Lei Xuanji 10 years ago should have spread throughout the divine world. However, it was covered up by the news of the Son of Heaven's appearance. In the past 10 years, it could be said that the son of heaven's most glorious 10 years. He had gathered a large number of followers who were peerless geniuses of various sections. In Tuobayu's heart, the son of heaven was an invincible existence. No one could be his opponent. Is that so? Suddenly, a calm and indifferent voice resounded in the void. Kacha! The void suddenly shattered. Blazing divine light bloomed and chaotic fog filled the air. A figure with a monstrous aura walked out from the void. A pair of eyes that were like divine lamps instantly stared at Tuobayu and Zining. Chapter 2026. It's Long Out Yen. Martial Uncle Long. Ha ha ha. Martial Uncle Long has come out of seclusion. Let's see if those two bastards can still be so arrogant. What bullshit Tianzi. He's not even fit to carry Martial Uncle Long's shoes. When everyone saw Ling Xiao in the sky, they couldn't help but tremble. Their eyes were filled with incomparable excitement. It had been 10 years. Ling Xiao had been in seclusion in the Battle Heaven's sacred realm for 10 years. 10 years ago, Ling Xiao had defeated the geniuses of the Heavenly Curse sect and the Chinese clan. He had even fought Lei Xuanji without being at a disadvantage. His peerless demeanor had already won the hearts of countless disciples of the War God Temple. They had already regarded him as their idol and were filled with fanatical worship. In these 10 years, the War God continent had been in turmoil. Countless geniuses had emerged, and even the monstrous geniuses of the ancient times had awakened. Among them, Tianzi was the most dazzling. He had gathered many followers under him. Even Tuobayu, the saint of a holy land, had become Tianzi's follower. However, the worship of the disciples of the War God Temple towards Ling Xiao did not decrease at all. Ling Xiao had become the symbol of their spirit. Countless disciples of the War God Temple had acknowledged him as the little god of war. Now that Ling Xiao had come out of seclusion, everyone's hearts were immediately at ease. Martial Uncle Long, you've become stronger again. Wu Xiong and Gao Yang were indescribably surprised and exclaimed. They had witnessed Ling Xiao's growth with their own eyes. Although Ling Xiao's cultivation was only at the 7th Revolution half-saint realm, his aura had become increasingly unfathomable. It was obvious that he was much stronger than 10 years ago. They were also very grateful to Ling Xiao. 10 years ago, Ling Xiao had defeated Yang Wen and Hua Tianqiong, avenging them. Moreover, he had left behind many origin pills for them. Not only had their injuries been completely healed, but their cultivation had also risen to another level. This is the aura of the Battle Heaven secret technique? Ni Shang's face revealed a trace of astonishment. Although she knew that Ling Xiao had become the little god of war of the War God Temple and should have been in seclusion in the Battle Heaven sacred realm for the past 10 years, she was still incomparably shocked after sensing the incomparably mysterious aura from Ling Xiao. The supreme secret technique of the War God Temple, the supreme technique known as the Heavenly Battle Merit, had actually been successfully cultivated by Ling Xiao. After all, it was said that the 12 sky techniques were extremely profound and profound. Only Saint Tao experts were able to completely comprehend them, and even if half-saints cultivated them, they would only be able to obtain a superficial understanding of them. However, Ni Shang felt an aura similar to Lu Baiyi's from Ling Xiao. This meant that Ling Xiao had at least cultivated the heaven battling secret skill to the greater mastery stage. You're Long Out Yen. However, he was merely a 7th Revolution half-sage. So, how could he dare to say that he could fight against a sage? I didn't expect that the War God Temple would actually exaggerate the truth in order to create momentum. How disappointing. Tuobayu glanced at Ling Xiao with a hint of surprise in his eyes. When he saw Ling Xiao's cultivation level, he said disdainfully. It was rumored that Ling Xiao had fought against Elder Huang Tai and Lei Xuanji, but Tuobayu had never seen it with his own eyes. Elder Huang Tai naturally wouldn't announce the results of that battle, so Tuobayu didn't believe these rumors. Moreover, it seemed that Ling Xiao's cultivation level was only at the 7th Revolution half-sage realm, which was 2 stages lower than him. This made him laugh coldly in his heart. Long Out Yen. You don't seem to be anything special. However, it's good that you've come out of seclusion. The emperor's decree is to summon Long Outyen and Ni Shang to the heavenly court. Why aren't you kneeling down to accept the decree and express your gratitude? Zi Ning's eyes flashed as she looked at Ling Xiao indifferently and spoke condescendingly. There was an aura in her voice that no one dared to defy. The emperor wants to summon Ni Shang and me to the heavenly court. Isn't he being too insincere? Even if he wants to invite me to the heavenly court, he should be the one to do it personally. What's the meaning of sending 2 weak ants? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he spoke plainly. He could not help but recall the time when he was with Zhou Panlong. He had met a mysterious young man who was like the Emperor of Heaven. In just a short 10 years, the Emperor actually had such a huge influence. What a sharp tongue! Long Outyen, are you really going to defy the decree? Zi Ning and Tuo Baiyu's eyes turned cold as they spoke with an ugly expression. They did not expect Ling Xiao to be so arrogant and not take them seriously at all. Although Tuo Baiyu and Zi Ning were followers of the emperor, they were both saints and saintesses of the sacred grounds. They were usually arrogant and claimed to be peerless geniuses. Now that they were being looked down upon by Ling Xiao, their hearts were filled with murderous intent. Defy the decree. What a joke. Who is the emperor? Is he an ancient emperor or one of the 9 emperors of the human race? Is he worthy to give me a decree? Take the opportunity when I don't feel like killing people now and get lost. Ling Xiao laughed coldly. Then, his eyes turned cold as if there were blazing lightning rising. He had an imposing aura without being angry. Long Outyen, how dare you disrespect the emperor? Tuo Baiyu said angrily. Disrespect to the emperor is disrespect to the emperor of heaven. You should be killed. Zi Ning said coldly. Blazing sword radiance rose around her and the sword essence was extremely sharp. It was as if the surrounding void had been pierced through. It was terrifying. I am really curious. Who gave you the courage to behave so atrociously in my combat god hall? Since you are not leaving, leave your lives here. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with murderous intent as he looked at Tuo Baiyu and Zi Ning. Tuo Baiyu and Zi Ning suddenly felt a chill down their spines. It was as if they were being stared at by an ancient ferocious beast. A sense of danger surged in their hearts. Rumble. Ling Xiao threw out a punch. Suddenly, a blazing golden fist print traversed the sky and pressed down on Tuo Baiyu and Zi Ning. The fist print was extremely ferocious. It was like a divine sun in the 9 heavens. The rolling golden qi and blood seemed to have turned into a blazing flame that wanted to burn everything into ashes. Long Outyen, how dare you? Tuo Baiyu's face changed. He did not expect Ling Xiao to attack without saying a word. He roared, and a vast aura of the holy path rose around him. The golden armor became ancient and majestic, and there seemed to be mysterious dragon-shaped patterns on it. Then, he threw a punch at Ling Xiao. Roar! The dragon's roar resounded through the 9 heavens. Tuo Baiyu's fist print contained the majesty of the divine dragon. It was as if he was the emperor of the dragon tribe. He charged towards Ling Xiao. The emperor's dragon fist. This was the fist technique that the emperor imparted to Tuo Baiyu. It contained the majesty of the heavens and the unfathomable power of the dragon fist. One punch could shatter space and time. It was extremely domineering. Crack. Chapter 2027. The void vibrated violently and the sky shook as though there were stars falling from the 9 heavens, showering down their radiance. The vast roar of a dragon resounded, causing the spectators to tremble and their faces to turn pale. A figure flew out from the divine light that filled the sky. He groaned in the void and his face turned pale. It's Tuo Baiyu. Someone exclaimed in surprise. The divine light that filled the sky dispersed. Ling Xiao stood in the sky. His clothes were whiter than snow, and his black hair fluttered in the wind. Golden divine chains of order encircled his body. He maintained his punching posture. His body did not move at all, and his expression was indifferent. However, Tuoba Yu was sent flying by Ling Zhao's punch. His face was filled with disbelief. Your physical body can withstand the Son of Heaven's dragon fist? Tuoba Yu's face turned pale. Although he had not mastered the Son of Heaven's dragon fist, it was indeed a supreme fist skill. It was a supreme fist skill that was formed by the fusion of the supreme martial arts of the human tribe and the dragon tribe. However, in front of Ling Zhao's punch, it was so weak. It was as if Ling Zhao did not use any martial arts at all. It was just the strength of his physical body. With one punch, all the divine dragon phantoms in the sky were shattered, and Tuoba Yu was sent flying. Tuoba Yu's arm was trembling slightly. It was completely numb and he had lost all feeling. His heart was in turmoil. At this moment, a thought appeared in his mind. Could it be that the legends about Long Outyan were true? Is this the combat strength of the Saint of the Nine Imperial Gates? Too weak. Come at me together. Ling Zhao said flatly and walked towards Tuoba Yu and Zining. Rumble. The void shook violently, and the heavens all around were rumbling. Ling Zhao walked like a dragon and a tiger. Chaotic chi surrounded him. Every step he took seemed to be stepping on the nodes of the heavens and earth, containing the laws of the great path. Every move he made had unfathomable heavenly might. Dazzling starlight sprinkled down from the sky. Ling Zhao was like a celestial emperor who was pushing the sun, moon, and stars. His majestic aura came crushing down from the sky, causing Tuoba Yu and Zining's expressions to change. Their hearts were filled with fear. Long Outyan lives up to his name. He's too strong. Let's attack together. Zining's eyes flashed with a cold light. It was as if two blazing swords had pierced through the sky. She shouted coldly and made the first move. Sensing the terrifying power in Ling Zhao's body, Zining no longer dared to underestimate him. She gave it her all and did not hold back. She immediately unleashed her full power. Rays of sword light shot out from Zining's body, causing her aura to become even sharper. A ray of light flashed in her palm and an ancient purple sword appeared. It was crystal clear and extremely sharp. It seemed to contain extremely strange blood vessels, causing the sword to be even more ferocious. Whoosh! The ancient sword shot through the air like a primordial light that pierced through the chaos. It was extremely sharp and extremely fast. It appeared before Ling Zhao almost instantly. This was a supreme saint sword that contained peerless killing power. It was boundlessly terrifying. Ling Zhao's expression was extremely calm. In the face of this ancient purple sword, he actually stretched out his palm. It turned into a huge palm print and fell from the sky. You're courting death. Zining's eyes flashed with killing intent. This saint sword was extremely terrifying. Even a saint would not dare to take it head-on. Ling Zhao actually wanted to use his bare hands to fight against it. In her opinion, he was simply courting death. The sword light became even sharper. It slashed down from the sky and wanted to cut off Ling Zhao's palm, overturning the heavens. Ling Zhao suddenly spat out a few words. Rumble. Terrifying divine light blossomed from his body, and runes intertwined in his palm, forming an ancient golden seal. It exuded boundless majesty and mysterious fluctuations, and it directly collided with the purple sacred sword. Kacha! Sparks flew in all directions and blazing divine light rose. It was as though two peerless divine weapons had collided in the void. It created an endless divine light storm. However, Zining's expression changed. Ling Zhao's palm was not cut off as she had imagined. Instead, she felt an irresistible divine power coming from the purple saint sword. It was directly slapped down by Ling Zhao. Her arm was trembling violently and the ancient sword was about to fly out of her hand. Whoosh! Ling Zhao flicked his finger and a blazing ray of light shot across the sky towards Zining's glabella. It was extremely fast. The ray of light was extremely sharp and contained a strong sword essence. In an instant, it pierced through the void and shot out a ray of bloody light from Zining's glabella. However, a purple rune rose from Zi Ning's glabella. It was as though a jade pendant had appeared. In an instant, it blocked the ray of light from Ling Zhao's finger. Flipping sky seal. No, this is not the flipping sky seal. Zi Ning was extremely embarrassed. She pulled a distance away from Ling Zhao and her expression became extremely ugly. She originally thought that Ling Zhao had used the flipping sky seal, but she suddenly realized that it wasn't the real flipping sky seal. Instead, it seemed to be transformed by some kind of magical power. It actually blocked the supreme holy sword in her hand, which made her feel a storm in her heart. Kill. Zi Ning and Tuoba Yu looked at each other and killing intent rose in their eyes. In an instant, they activated an even stronger force and attacked Ling Zhao at the same time. Zi Ning held the purple saint sword in her hand. Her sword essence was monstrous and turned into a sea of swords. It was like a boundless storm that wanted to drown Ling Zhao completely. On the other hand, a golden spear appeared in Tuoba Yu's hand. It exuded an ancient and ferocious aura. It was also a peerless weapon. The light from the spear caused the void to tremble violently. As the spear pierced through, thousands of golden petals bloomed in the void. It looked extremely beautiful but contained a fatal danger. These two are only followers of the Emperor. Why did they come to the War God Temple to provoke us? After all, this is not their home ground. What are they trying to do? Ni Shang thought to herself as she watched the battle between Ling Zhao, Tuoba Yu, and Zi Ning. If they want me to follow the Emperor, they should not be so arrogant and despotic. In that case, their real target is not me but Martial Granduncle Long. Ni Shang seemed to have thought of something. She could not help but tremble and her eyes lit up. If I'm not wrong, I'm afraid that these two people were sent by the Emperor to test Martial Granduncle Long. After all, Martial Granduncle Long's combat power is extraordinary and is not weaker than those ancient monsters. It is reasonable for the Emperor to be wary of him. Ni Shang seemed to have cleared away the endless fog and finally figured everything out. Chapter 2028. The golden battle spear made a buzzing sound as it pierced through the void. The spear radiance contained a vast amount of holy aura, as though it had the power of heaven and earth. Clang! Ling Zhao's eyes were calm as he threw out a punch. He used the power of the flipping sky seal from the battling heavens skill to suppress it. It was as though a vast mountain was about to overturn the heavens and earth as it collided with the golden battle spear. The golden battle spear was blocked and it emitted a bright light. It was like a golden dragon that was about to come to life at any moment. It emitted a ferocious aura as it changed its direction and pierced towards Ling Zhao again. Bang! 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 Ling Zhao's fist was like a dragon and it was extremely domineering. It collided with the golden battle spear a few times and caused the golden battle spear to tremble violently. Unparalleled divine power spread along the body of the spear, causing Tuoba Yu to tremble violently. He could not help but cough up blood as he retreated. Swoosh! Blazing sword radiance bloomed behind Ling Zhao and turned into a sea of swords. The sword radiance was like rain as it poured down like a waterfall. Zi Ning's eyes were cold as she held the purple holy sword in her hand. She was bathing in the rain of swords as she charged towards Ling Zhao from behind. Ling Zhao did not seem to have noticed it at all. His expression was still as calm as ever. He punched Tuoba Yu, who was in front of him, and pushed him back. Then, when the rain of swords arrived, he leaped into the air and kicked Zi Ning. Boom! Ling Zhao seemed to have transformed into a holy dragon. His speed was extremely fast as he kicked the purple holy sword. The purple holy sword emitted a blazing light as the crisp sound of the sword reverberated in the air. Suddenly, it split into 9 swords in the void and shot towards Ling Zhao's vital points at the same time. Die! Zi Ning's eyes were filled with killing intent. Although Ling Zhao's combat strength was extremely strong and far beyond her imagination, the purple holy sword in her hand was an ancient killing weapon. Now that she was so close to Ling Zhao, she was confident that she could poke a few holes in Ling Zhao's body. Kill! Tuoba Yu also saw this opportunity and immediately flew towards Ling Xiao. The terrifying energy around him focused on the golden spear in his hand, causing the golden spear to shine brightly. Murderous aura gushed out from the tip of the spear and mysterious symbols flowed. In an instant, the golden spear flew out from Tuoba Yu's hand and pointed directly at Ling Xiao's heart. Tuoba Yu threw the golden spear with his strongest power. Even a 9th revolution half-step saint would be penetrated by this spear in a flash. The violent power of the golden spear would grind him into pieces. Not even his bones would remain. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, and the golden qi and blood around him gushed out, like golden flames curling around him. Mysterious sound waves spread out, and many runes intertwined, forming a 3-legged, 2-eared cauldron around him. The ancient cauldron was trembling slightly, and it was melodious and mysterious. It seemed to contain a vast world of flames. Flame Emperor Cauldron. Ling Xiao used the heavenly battle skill to evolve the Flame Emperor Cauldron, and the vast Emperor's aura bloomed, causing the void to tremble. The sun and the moon dimmed, and everyone's face turned pale instantly. Rays of sword light slashed on the ancient cauldron, and the sound of metal clashing could be heard. However, they were unable to break through Ling Xiao's defense. The golden spear pierced the ancient cauldron, and the spear radiance was blazing. It trembled violently, and in the end, it was sent flying. Break! Ling Xiao's eyes were cold, and he shouted softly. Kacha! The ancient cauldron suddenly bloomed with boundless light and blazing flames. Then, it swept across the sky and annihilated the countless rays of sword light. Then, it slammed heavily on Zining and Tuoba Yu's bodies. Puff! Puff! Zining and Tuoba Yu's bodies shook violently, and they were hit by the unparalleled divine power. Blood spurted out from their mouths, and they were sent flying. Their faces were filled with shock. What kind of superpower is this? Tuoba Yu roared, and his eyes were filled with shock and anger. He had not expected that he and Zining would not be Ling Xiao's match even after joining forces. They had been crushed by Ling Xiao. Although the Emperor Yen cauldron that Ling Xiao had created with the Fighting Heaven's skill was not a physical body, it contained a trace of the extreme power of the Emperor Yen cauldron. It was terrifying, as though it could burn the heavens and destroy the earth. It was extremely terrifying. After this blow, even Ling Xiao felt a little weak, as though half of the strength in his body had been sucked out. The Fighting Heaven's skill is indeed extraordinary. It can evolve all the skills in the universe, and it is somewhat similar to the infinite divine skill that I once obtained. Ling Xiao was rather emotional. This was the first time he had used the Fighting Heaven's skill, and he had not expected its combat strength to be so terrifying. If he had not cultivated the Fighting Heaven's skill, he would have had to use the Flipping Sky Seal to defeat Zining and Tuoba Yu so easily. Martial Uncle Long has won. Ha ha ha, I knew there was no suspense in this battle. Isn't that so? Even Lei Xuanji was not Martial Uncle Long's match. How dare these two sage-to-be act wildly here? I wonder how Martial Uncle Long will deal with them. After all, they are all saints of the 9 Imperial Obelisk. Now that the 9 Imperial Obelisk and the War God Hall are allies on the surface, I'm afraid Martial Uncle Long will let them go, right? Sigh. Who asked the War God Hall to be so weak? Otherwise, they would have been killed for provoking the War God Hall. Many of the War God Hall's disciples discussed spiritedly. Their eyes were filled with excitement. However, when they thought of Zining and Tuoba Yu's status, they felt a little indignant. After all, they had come to the War God Hall openly and asked Ling Xiao and Ni Shang to kneel and accept the edict. They had no regard for the dignity of the War God Hall. In their hearts, they should have died 1,000 times. Long Outyen, I have underestimated you. You are indeed very strong. However, the Emperor will not let you off for disobeying the edict. Zining, let's go. Tuoba Yu's face was extremely pale. After being hit by the Flame Emperor's cauldron, he had suffered serious injuries. He put up a strong front and said to Ling Xiao. After this battle, he understood that even if he and Zi Ning attacked together, they would not be Ling Zhao's match. Since he had achieved his goal, he had the intention to retreat. Long Outyen, you don't know the difference between you and the Emperor. You also don't know what kind of opportunity you have missed. You are on your own now. Zi Ning said coldly to Ling Zhao. Then, she prepared to leave with Tuobayu. Did I allow you to leave? Ling Zhao said flatly. His voice rang out behind Tuobayu and Zi Ning. Why? Long Outyen, don't tell me you're trying to make us stay. Tuobayu turned around and said with an ugly expression. You want to leave after flaunting your strength in the War God Hall? Don't you want to leave something behind? Ling Zhao said flatly. His eyes were extremely sharp. What do you want? Tuobayu and Zi Ning's faces turned even uglier. Very simple. Leave your lives behind. Chapter 2029. Rumble. The golden fist print traversed hundreds of millions of miles across the void, containing an unparalleled strength. Chaotic chi filled the air and the divine light was blazing. It was as though there were 3,000 worlds surrounding it, containing a vast force of heaven and earth. Tuobayu and Zi Ning's expression changed. They did not expect Ling Zhao to attack so decisively. Moreover, his attack was incomparably fierce. This punch made them feel as though the entire world was crushing them. Their faces instantly turned pale. Long Outyen, if you dare to touch us, the Emperor will not let you off. Long Outyen, you're dead meat. In this world, in the 4 seas and 8 wastelands, no one can save you. Tuobayu and Zi Ning roared angrily. Their eyes were filled with rage and a tinge of fear that could not be hidden. They could feel the threat of death looming over them. Boom! At this moment of life and death, Tuobayu and Zi Ning began to fight with all their might. Tuobayu's golden armor emitted boundless light. Runes flashed and intertwined to form a mysterious defensive barrier. At the same time, Tuobayu held his golden spear and infused it with all his saint power. He pierced it towards Ling Zhao's fist. Zi Ning, on the other hand, was surrounded by a purple aura. It was as though there were waves of the void rippling out. Around her, an ethereal bounded domain was formed. It was unfathomable. At the same time, she controlled the purple holy sword and pierced towards Ling Zhao's forehead. Meaningless threats. Ling Zhao said calmly. The fist print was even more terrifying. It fell from the 9 heavens like a golden immemorial sacred mountain that was going to kill billions of lives. Kacha! This was the fist of the heavenly sovereign. Unparalleled fist intent gushed out like endless waves. It directly blasted on the golden war spear and the purple holy sword. Suddenly, a burst of blazing divine light was emitted. The 2 holy treasures were buzzing and trembling. In the end, they were directly sent flying. Ling Zhao's fist did not slow down and landed on Tuobayu and Zi Ning's bodies. Both of them trembled violently, and their bodies suddenly exploded in the void. Endless blood filled the air, and severed limbs flew everywhere. It was an incomparably brutal scene. Tuobayu and Zi Ning were already heavily injured by Ling Zhao's battle heavenly skill. They were not Ling Zhao's match even when they were at their peak, let alone now that they were heavily injured. They were instantly killed by Ling Zhao's punch. Ling Zhao stood in the air, bathed in the rain of blood. However, his white robes fluttered in the wind, untainted by even a speck of dust. His black hair danced in the wind, and his eyes shone with a divine light. He was like an ancient emperor, his aura soaring to the heavens. Senior Uncle Long killed Tuobayu and Zi Ning with one punch. Everyone was stunned. Looking at the scene before them, they felt like they were in a dream. Their bodies started to tremble. They originally thought that Ling Zhao would spare Tuobayu and Zi Ning's lives. After all, they were from the imperial obelisk and were followers of the emperor. If they were killed, they would offend both the imperial obelisk and the emperor. Now that the war god temple was in a precarious situation, it was not suitable for them to make any more powerful enemies. However, they did not expect Ling Xiao to be so unyielding. Those who offended the Temple of War would be killed without mercy. Ling Xiao really did it. Even though they knew that the death of Tuoba Yu and Zi Ning would bring a lot of trouble to the Temple of War, they did not know why, but at that moment, the disciples of the Temple of War felt their blood boiling. Their eyes were filled with fanatical admiration. Fight! 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 The loud voice resounded in the sky above the Temple of War. Vast battle intent intertwined, causing the blood of the disciples of the Temple of War to surge. Their essence, energy, and spirit reached a peak. Kacha! Suddenly, the blood light in the void flashed and mysterious runes spread out. Tuoba Yu and Zi Ning's flesh and blood turned into pieces of broken wood. The void suddenly shattered. Tuoba Yu and Zi Ning's faces were filled with fear. They reappeared in the void and ran frantically towards the void. As they ran, the two of them shouted crazily, "Heavenly Son, save us!" This is, the legendary death substitute puppet? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed and he immediately recognized it. Tuoba Yu and Zi Ning were indeed killed by him with one punch. However, they had the death substitute puppet with them. It could save them from death once. Hence, Tuoba Yu and Zi Ning did not die. However, even if they did not die, they were scared out of their wits by Ling Xiao. Tuoba Yu's face was as pale as a sheet. Zi Ning no longer had her haughty attitude. She was so scared that her face turned pale. Her eyes were filled with fear as she felt the threat of death. So what if you have the death substitute puppet? I just have to kill you one more time. Die. Ling Xiao's eyes were cold and murderous intent rose around him. He had no intention of letting Tuoba Yu and Zi Ning off so easily. Blazing runes rose from his palms and he used the Fighting Heavens skill to evolve the Flipping Sky Seal. In an instant, it pierced through the sky and headed towards Tuoba Yu and Zi Ning. Rumble. The void suddenly broke apart. Under the supreme power of the Flipping Sky Seal, it was as fragile as a mirror. Even though Tuoba Yu and Zi Ning had escaped into the turbulence of the void, they were still locked down by the Flipping Sky Seal. Tuoba Yu and Zi Ning's eyes were filled with despair. The death substitute puppet had saved them once. However, it could not save them a second time. Just as the Flipping Sky Seal was about to blast them into smithereens, a boundless chaotic mist suddenly surged in the void turbulence. A golden fist print swept across the sky, penetrating hundreds of millions of miles of the void. It was extremely fierce and overbearing, causing the chaotic mist to explode. Boom! The fist landed on the Flipping Sky Seal. The Flipping Sky Seal trembled violently as though it could not withstand such a terrifying force. It exploded with a loud bang. Long Out Yen, how dare you hurt my subordinates? How dare you? A cold voice resounded. A mysterious figure faintly appeared in the void and floated in the chaotic mist. His eyes were extremely cold. It was as though he was the eyes of heaven, looking down on everyone in the world as ants. A mere Taoist body dares to behave atrociously in my war god hall. In that case, all of you shall stay here. Killing intent surged in Ling Xiao's eyes. He recognized that this figure was probably the legendary Son of Heaven. He was completely enraged. He had not expected the Emperor to be so arrogant. He had directly come to the War God Hall to save people. Moreover, he had only sent a Taoist body. If they were really saved by him, it would be a disgrace to the War God Hall. Rumble. Chapter 2030. This is, the Fighting Heavens skill. It's a pity that such a peerless secret skill is in your hands. Tianzi said indifferently. His voice was ethereal and difficult to capture. This was only his Taoist body. It was shrouded in chaotic qi and its aura was extremely powerful. The surrounding void vibrated violently. Tianzi was a little surprised to see the Emperor Yen cauldron flying towards him. Crack! Chaotic lightning appeared around him and then turned into a blazing thunderbolt that blasted towards the Emperor Flame Cauldron. The thunderbolt contained a destructive power that was extremely terrifying. Tianzi did not want to be entangled with Ling Xiao. After the blow, he waved his sleeve and wanted to take Tuoba Yu and Xining away from the War God Hall and into the depths of the void. Want to leave? It's not that easy. Ling Xiao sneered. The Emperor Yan cauldron shone brightly. Flames rose and collided with the thunderbolt. There was an explosion of blazing divine light. Ling Xiao leaped up and pushed his arms out. The Emperor Yan cauldron shone brightly and smashed towards Tianzi, Tuoba Yu, and Xining. It was as if the Heavenly Emperor was uprooting the world. Break! Tianzi's eyes flashed sharply as he spat out a word. In an instant, he struck out with his palm, which contained a vast power of space. It was as if the entire world was sucked into the palm print as it grabbed towards the Yan Emperor cauldron and Ling Xiao. The Emperor Yan cauldron was surrounded by endless flames. When it was hit by Tianzi's palm, it started to tremble violently. It was as if it was going to collapse at any time. There was a continuous buzzing sound. Crack! A crisp sound was heard. A crack appeared on the Yan Emperor cauldron, and then it suddenly exploded, turning into a blazing storm of divine light that surrounded the Emperor. Long out Yan, how dare you! Tianzi's voice was suddenly heard. It was filled with boundless killing intent. Boom! At the same time, a black ancient seal flew across the void at an extremely fast speed, heading straight for Tuoba Yu and Xining to suppress them. Why wouldn't I dare? Those who offend the War God Hall will be killed without mercy. Ling Xiao said coldly. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. It turned out that when Ling Xiao and Tianzi were fighting, he had asked Thunder Spirit King to use the Flip Sky Seal to attack Tuoba Yu and Xining. Although Tianzi's attack power was terrifying, Ling Xiao played along. He broke the Emperor Yan cauldron and blocked Tianzi with his terrifying power. Then, he used the Flipping Sky Seal to kill Tuoba Yu and Xining. Tianzi realized Ling Xiao's intention almost instantly. Unfortunately, he was entangled by Ling Xiao and could not escape. He could only watch as the Flipping Sky Seal suppressed Tuoba Yu and Xining. Puff! Puff! The Flipping Sky Seal was like an immemorial divine mountain that came crashing down. It contained a vast and unparalleled power fluctuation. Tuoba Yu and Xining screamed and instantly exploded into a blood fog in the void. They were killed by the Flipping Sky Seal and did not even have a corpse left. The Son of Heaven's gaze instantly turned bone-chilling. Ling Xiao had killed Tuoba Yu and Xining in front of him. It was like a slap to his face. Tianzi's heart was filled with murderous intent. Very good. Long out Yan, I will remember you. The Son of Heaven looked at Ling Xiao deeply. His gaze was extremely cold. In an instant, he rushed out from the boundless divine light. Chaotic mist surrounded him and he disappeared into the chaos. He did not continue to fight but chose to retreat. After all, this was only a Dao body. Facing Ling Xiao, who had the Flipping Sky Seal, and this was the home ground of the Warlord Hall. The sages of the Warlord Hall could attack at any time. Hence, the Son of Heaven did not choose to fight with Ling Xiao and retreated. Son of Heaven. Hee hee. Ling Xiao sneered. The aura around him slowly retracted. His eyes were flickering and his expression became calm. He could feel that the Emperor's strength was extremely terrifying. His body of Tao was able to break through the Yan Emperor cauldron that he condensed using the fighting heavenly skill. His real body would be even more terrifying. Ling Xiao felt an invisible pressure. He finally understood why Zhou Panlong was so fearful when he saw the Son of Heaven previously. The Son of Heaven was indeed a great enemy. The Son of Heaven ran away without a fight. Many disciples of the Warlord Hall were completely stunned when they saw the scene before them. Then, they became extremely excited and their eyes were filled with fanatical worship. Ling Xiao killed Tuoba Yu and Xining with the Flipping Sky Seal in front of the Son of Heaven. Even the Son of Heaven ran away without a fight. Instantly, many disciples of the Warlord Hall were extremely shocked. Who was the son of heaven? He was the most famous peerless genius in the realm of the gods for the past 10 years. He was known as the son of the Emperor of Heaven and possessed the bloodline of the Emperor of Heaven. Although he had not become a sage, he already possessed the supreme fighting strength of a sage. His strength was extremely terrifying. No one knew that it was the son of heaven's Tao body. However, when they saw the son of heaven run away without a fight, their worship of Ling Shao reached a peak. Martial Granduncle Long, you don't have to kill Tuoba Yuan Zening. I'm afraid that the 9 imperial gates and the son of heaven will not let you off easily. Ni Shang walked over and said with a tinge of worry in her eyes. Senior sister, what's there to be afraid of? I think Martial Granduncle is right. These bastards really think that the Warlord Hall is easy to bully and that they can come and go as they please. We'll teach them a lesson so that they won't dare to look down on the Warlord Hall in the future. Gao Yang sneered. That's right. Martial Granduncle's fighting strength is unparalleled. I'm afraid that even the son of heaven is no match for Martial Granduncle. In the era of great battles, we have to fight and seize. There's no way out. Wu Xiong said slowly. You're right. However, Martial Granduncle is too powerful and I'm afraid that it will attract the attention of some people with ulterior motives. I naturally believe that no one in the younger generation is a match for Martial Granduncle. However, I'm afraid that those shameless old men will secretly make a move. Ni Shang sighed softly. They dare. Gao Yang sneered. If those old men dare to make a move, they'll be openly breaking the unspoken rules. At that time, the various patriarchs of the Warlord Hall will not sit idly by. A bloody battle will be inevitable. I believe that they won't be willing to see such a situation happen. Wu Xiong sneered coldly. You don't have to worry. Why should the Warlord Hall be so overcautious? As for the Chinese and the 9 imperial gates, it doesn't matter if they offend them. If they want to take revenge on me, we'll see if they have the strength to do so. Ling Shao smiled faintly. His expression was very calm as if he didn't take the son of heaven's threat to heart at all. Martial Granduncle, you're really bold. However, in the past 10 years that Martial Granduncle has been in seclusion, the divine world has become increasingly chaotic. Many ancient sky prides have awakened from their seals. Moreover, according to the calculations of many sages, I'm afraid that the Heaven's Choice Convention is about to begin. Ni Shang smiled faintly with a tinge of anticipation in her eyes. Chapter 2031. Oh, what happened in the divine world in the past 10 years? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he asked Ni Shang. Ling Zhao's seclusion this time could be said to be the longest seclusion ever since he came to the divine world. Although his cultivation didn't increase much, he comprehended the heavenly battle technique and had a deeper understanding of heaven and earth. Ling Zhao instinctively sensed that there seemed to be some changes in the divine world. It felt like a storm was brewing. Senior Uncle Long, in the past 10 years when you were in seclusion, many mysterious changes happened in the various regions of the divine world. Many legendary prodigies of the ancient times appeared, and some ancient forbidden grounds emitted divine light. Heavenly treasures and the cave dwellings of ancient experts were discovered one after another. The battles between various parties became more and more frequent, and the remnants of the demon race also started to create chaos. Many things have happened in the past 10 years, Ni Shang spoke slowly and told Ling Shao what had happened in the past 10 years. At the same time, Ni Shang also mentioned the current situation of the battle hall. It had gone from being ignored in the past to being extremely popular now. Countless disciples wanted to join the battle hall. After all, Ling Shao had already become a minor war god. It was already certain that he would inherit the position of war god. The battle hall was probably going to return to its former glory. Although Lu Wenzheng, Chong He, and Chong Su strictly controlled the number of people who joined the battle hall, they still recruited thousands of disciples in the past 10 years. Every one of them was extremely talented and they were all Ling Zhao's most fervent admirers. The appearance of ancient prodigies, the strange changes in the ancient forbidden grounds, and the opening of the cave dwellings of experts. I'm afraid all these indicate that the great calamity of the era is about to arrive. Ling Xiao said slowly. His eyes were filled with divine light and were filled with anticipation. With Ling Xiao's current battle prowess, he could be said to be invincible within the same level. Even if he were to face a true saint, with his various trump cards, he would still be able to put up a fight. Among the 12 immortal holy lands, perhaps only the top saints or even the peerless prodigies who had been sealed since ancient times would be able to put up a fight against him. And these ancient heavenly geniuses were all treated as whetstones by Ling Xiao, sharpening his sword further and further. Only then would he be able to compete with the countless geniuses of the universe in the Heavenly Choice Convention, stepping into a higher realm. The path of an expert was destined to be filled with mountains of corpses and seas of blood. In the era of great battles, only the strongest could step onto the peak and be revered by the world. Martial Granduncle is right. Although we holy sons seem to be strong, we're still far from being able to compare to those ancient geniuses who are at least at the 3rd level of heaven treading. Not to mention competing with the top geniuses in the universe. Gao Yang sighed softly. In the era of great battles, challenges are also opportunities. If you fight, you might die, but if you don't fight, you will definitely die. Rather than living a cowardly life, it is better to die heroically. Wu Xiong's temperament was incomparably resolute, and his voice was filled with a kind of high-spirited fighting spirit. An ancient prodigy at the 3rd level of heaven treading? Since ancient times, how many people had been able to break the limit? They're just one step ahead of us. However, we're the main characters in this life. The stronger the challenge, the more you'll be able to break through your limits, isn't that right? Ling Xiao smiled faintly. His eyes were filled with a strong fighting spirit. After crossing 9 nirvana tribulations, a half-step saint would reach the 9th revolution half-step saint realm. As long as he accumulated enough energy, he would be able to condense a Tao fruit and break through to the supreme saint realm. However, above the 9th revolution half-step saint realm, if he could break through the limit, he would be able to break through to the 3rd level of heaven treading. The so-called 3 levels of heaven treading were the human realm, earth realm, and heaven realm. Breaking through the limit once was the human realm, breaking through the limit twice was the earth realm, and breaking through the limit 3 times was the heaven realm. It was extremely difficult to enter the 3 levels of heaven treading. Only those with great opportunities and great perseverance could break through. Moreover, one would have to experience 9 deaths and one's life to break through the limit and completely sublimate. However, as long as one entered the 3 levels of heaven treading, it was said that one would have battle strength comparable to a saint realm expert. Even if one wasn't a saint, one would be able to surpass one. Breaking through to the saint realm from the 3 levels of heaven treading was the immortal saint realm, invincible within the same realm. Therefore, many of those ancient prodigies were the main characters of an era. They were naturally unwilling to prove their Tao as 9th revolution half-step saints. They all sought the most perfect Tao by breaking through the barrier of life and death, challenging the limit, and proving their Tao in the most perfect state. Therefore, most of them were peerless geniuses at the 3 levels of heaven treading. Facing a 9th revolution half-step saint realm expert was like a saint realm expert who could be suppressed with a flip of the hand. Martial Granduncle is right. So what if we're at the 3 levels of heaven treading? As long as we find our own Tao, we can also break through the limit and enter the 3 levels of heaven treading. We'll be known as invincible. Ni Shang also smiled faintly. Gao Yang and Wu Xiong both nodded seriously, their eyes filled with anticipation. The 3 of them were the holy sons and holy daughters of the war god temple, the strongest among the hundreds of thousands of disciples. They naturally had their own pride and didn't think that they were weaker than those ancient prodigies. A true expert didn't give up when facing someone stronger and even surpassed them in the end. They were all true experts. Very good. As long as you have the heart to fight, you won't be far from the 3 levels of heaven treading. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. As his understanding of heaven and earth deepened, he increasingly felt the profoundness and importance of the Tao of the heart. Anyone who could achieve something in the Tao of the heart must be an extremely terrifying expert. On the contrary, no matter how strong one's cultivation was, if one didn't have enough Tao of the heart to support it, they were nothing more than clay chickens and pottery dogs in Ling Zhao's eyes. Thank you for your teachings, Martial Granduncle. We'll go back and cultivate in seclusion. When the Heaven's Choice meeting begins, we'll compete with the prodigies of the myriad worlds. Ni Shang and the other two said seriously. Although Ling Zhao's cultivation was lower than theirs, they didn't feel that there was anything wrong with Ling Zhao's tone at all. The deeper they knew Ling Zhao, the more they understood how powerful he was. Although they didn't say it explicitly, Ling Zhao was already the little war god of the War God Temple. The disciples of the War God Temple dispersed, and Ling Zhao also returned to War Mountain. The news of Ling Zhao coming out of seclusion and killing Tuoba Yu and Zi Ning with lightning speed had already spread to War Mountain. The disciples of the War God Temple were in an uproar. With Black Donkey, Fengya, and Hu Zi as the leaders, they originally planned to leave War Mountain to cheer for Ling Zhao, but they didn't expect Ling Zhao to return to War Mountain. All hail Martial Granduncle Long. Long live Martial Granduncle Long. The War God is invincible. The War God is invincible. The disciples of the War God Temple swarmed towards Ling Zhao. Their eyes were filled with incomparable fanaticism and worship. Their voices were like thunder that shook the clouds and reverberated in all directions. Some of these new disciples of the War God Temple had seen Ling Zhao 10 years ago. Although some hadn't seen Ling Zhao before, they had long heard of his deeds and had become his most fanatical admirers. Chapter 2032. TSK, kid, you're finally out of seclusion. I didn't see any improvement in your cultivation over the past 10 years. Everyone from the battle hall excitedly rushed towards Ling Zhao. Black Donkey was at the front of the group, walking with his feet splayed outwards as he spoke proudly. In the past 10 years, the most shocking thing was the Black Donkey. It could pass through a nirvana tribulation almost every year. In just 10 years, its cultivation had reached the 7th revolution half-saint realm. Of course, the origin pill that Ling Zhao had given it played a part in this. However, more importantly, the Black Donkey's talent was simply too terrifying. Its rapid growth was as easy as eating or drinking. This was a huge blow to the disciples of the battle hall. At this moment, the Black Donkey saw that Ling Zhao's cultivation was the same as his. It didn't have a breakthrough, so it couldn't help but show off. Although it knew that it couldn't escape from Ling Zhao's evil clutches, it still felt good to be able to ridicule Ling Zhao. You rascal, how did your cultivation increase so quickly? Ling Zhao was shocked to see that the Black Donkey had reached the 7th revolution half-saint realm. Black and white divine light flowed in Ling Zhao's eyes. It contained the mysterious power of reincarnation. It was as though he could see through the Black Donkey's physical body. He saw that the Black Donkey's meridians were like dragons. Its flesh and blood exuded a powerful dragon's aura. It was also filled with a mysterious power of space. Its blood seemed to have been activated. It was crystal clear. White and golden light intertwined in the Black Donkey's blood. It looked extremely noble and exuded an inexplicable pressure. This is, the bloodline of the Dragon tribe and the Pegasus tribe has been completely awakened? Ling Zhao's body shook. His eyes were filled with disbelief. The Black Donkey was the white dragon horse. It was a special breed of the Pegasus tribe. It was the descendant of the Pegasus tribe and the Dragon tribe. It possessed the bloodline of both the Dragon tribe and the Pegasus tribe. It was the absolute king of the Pegasus tribe. Although the white dragon horse was powerful, its Dragon tribe bloodline hadn't been completely awakened. Therefore, although it had the speed of the Pegasus tribe, its combat strength wasn't strong. 10 years ago, before Ling Zhao went into seclusion, he taught the ancestral dragon's secret skill to the white dragon horse. He only hoped to activate the Dragon clan bloodline in the white dragon horse. However, he did not expect the white dragon horse's cultivation to increase so quickly after the bloodline was activated. Ling Zhao could sense that it wouldn't be long before the white dragon horse's cultivation level reached the 9th revolution half-saint realm. This is nothing. It won't be long before I become the first person from the battle hall to become a saint. The black donkey said proudly. A saint-level mount? Not bad, not bad, I think highly of you. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Black donkey's face darkened, and he turned his head away. He didn't want to talk to Ling Xiao anymore. Everyone burst into laughter. Disciples of the battle hall, you are the future hope of the battle hall and the war god shrine. I only have one request for you, and that is to be a disciple of the battle hall. You will never regret fighting 100 battles. With me around, you are invincible. Ling Xiao stood in the air, and his white robe fluttered in the wind. His eyes were clear as he faced the thousands of disciples of the battle hall. His voice resounded throughout the battle mountain. Disciples of the battle hall. You will never regret fighting 100 battles. With me around, you are invincible. Disciples of the battle hall. You will never regret fighting 100 battles. With me around, you are invincible. Many disciples of the battle hall roared in excitement. Their eyes were filled with fanaticism and worship. Battle intent rose from their bodies and soared into the sky like smoke signals. Very good. As the battle hall master, I will give everyone a small gift. I hope that everyone will work hard and climb to the top. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Then, a bright light shone from his palm and scattered with the wind. Immediately, balls of light flew out from Ling Xiao's hand and landed in the hands of the disciples of the battle hall. This is 10,000 drops of saint liquid. Thank you, Hall Master. Thank you, Hall Master. Long live the Hall Master. When the disciples of the battle hall saw the balls of light in their hands, they couldn't help but gasp. Their eyes were filled with excitement. Within each ball of light, there were tens of thousands of drops of crystal-clear saint liquid, which contained an incomparably vast amount of energy. Over 10,000 drops of saint liquid was a huge fortune to the disciples of the battle hall who were only divine kings. They never thought that Ling Xiao would be so generous as to take out 10 million drops of saint liquid without even blinking. Everyone, go back and cultivate. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Although the saint liquid was precious, Ling Xiao didn't care about it at all. The saint liquid could no longer increase his cultivation. Only origin pills could increase his cultivation. These 10 million drops of saint liquid were the spoils of war that Ling Xiao obtained after killing Tuoba Yu and Zining. There were tens of millions of drops of saint liquid and over 10,000 origin pills. Ling Xiao planned to give these drops of saint liquid to Fengya and the others to cultivate. He would keep the origin pills to increase his cultivation. The disciples of the battle hall bowed towards Ling Xiao before dispersing. Uncle Master Long, everyone has a gift. Don't tell me we don't have one. Wang Lin, Min Ro, and the others all smiled. They had all come to the Battle God Hall with Ling Xiao from Aries College. They were extremely close, so they naturally spoke much more casually. Of course. I've prepared your gifts as well. Each of you will get one of these saint treasures. Choose for yourselves. Ling Xiao laughed heartily. With a wave of his sleeve, over a dozen dazzling weapons appeared. Sabers, spears, swords, halberds, axes, hooks, and tridents. They all radiated with powerful saint might. They were all flawless saint treasures. So many saint treasures. Fengya, Tai Niu, and the others were shocked. Their eyes were filled with shock. Although most of these flawless holy treasures were only low-grade holy treasures, they were still precious. Holy treasures were extremely precious. It was difficult for even a high-level half-saint to get one, but Ling Xiao took out more than a dozen of them in one go. You're welcome. Choose for yourselves. These are the treasures of powerful enemies that I've killed. They're useless to me. They can be used as defensive weapons for you. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. His current physical body was incomparably strong, and he could even fight against a flawless sacred treasure. Moreover, he had supreme sacred treasures like the Heaven Flipping Seal and the Heaven Dao Primal Chaos Tablet in his hands. Ordinary sacred treasures were useless against him. However, these saint treasures could increase Fengya and the others' combat power by a large margin. Thank you, Uncle Master Long. We won't stand on ceremony then. Fengya, Wang Lin, and the others said with a smile. Then, they began to choose the saint treasures that they liked. Chapter 2033. After the disciples of Battle Hall had left, Ling Xiao and the others came to the top of the mountain. They sat on the ground and began to talk freely. On the top of the mountain, an ancient pine tree stood proudly. The mountain breeze blew and the clouds drifted. It looked very peaceful. Now that there are no outsiders here, you don't have to call me Marshal Granduncle. Just call me by my name. By the way, where did the 3 senior brothers go? Ling Xiao asked with a smile. Brother Ling Xiao, many things have happened in the divine world during the 10 years you were in seclusion. Various treasures have appeared in many ancient forbidden lands. This time, the lightning blood sacred tree in the Western Thunder Lake bore fruit. The lightning blood sacred fruit can refine the body. It's very beneficial for the disciples of Battle Hall to cultivate the indestructible saint technique. Therefore, the 3 elders went to the Western Thunder Lake. Fengya said with a smile. She was wearing a snow-white robe. Her face was extremely beautiful. She looked calm and gentle. Her beautiful eyes were full of hope. She smiled sweetly and her eyes were fixed on Ling Xiao. She looked very beautiful. After 10 years, her cultivation had reached the 5th revolution half-saint realm. Her cultivation speed was extremely fast. However, she was still the same as before. Her eyes were clear and filled with admiration for Ling Xiao. The white dragon horse was too monstrous. It was because Ling Xiao had taught it the ancestral dragon secret technique that allowed its dragon bloodline and heavenly horse bloodline to completely merge. That was why its cultivation had increased by leaps and bounds. Other than the white dragon horse, Fengya's cultivation had increased the fastest in the entire battle hall. When Ling Xiao and the 3 elders were not around, she had become the great senior sister of Battle Hall. As for the others, although Bai Susu, Tai Niu, Wang Lin, Min Ro, and Zhou Daoji's cultivation had increased quickly, they were only 2nd revolution or 3rd revolution half-saint realm. They went to the Western Thunder Lake. Although the Western Thunder Lock is a forbidden area that is filled with endless lightning all year round, and anyone below the Saint Realm who enters it is almost certain to die, it is the territory of the 9 Imperial Gates. The 9 Imperial Gates are very ambitious. I hope nothing bad will happen to the 3 senior brothers. Ling Xiao said slowly. There was a hint of worry in his eyes. Although Lu Wenzheng, the void-pierced stage, and Chong He had received Ling Zhao's eternal creation pill and their Dao injuries were healed and their cultivation bases were restored to the peak of the Saint Realm in one fell swoop, Ling Xiao could not help but feel a little worried when he thought of the conflict with the 9 Imperial Gates. The Western Thunder Lock was located in the far west of the Shangqing Heavenly Domain. It was an ancient forbidden land. Ling Xiao had heard of it before. Some said that the Western Thunder Lock was the place where the Thunder Monarch passed away. Others said that the Western Thunder Lock was formed because of a lightning treasure. There were many treasures in the Western Thunder Lock, but not many experts below the Sage Realm dared to enter the Western Thunder Lock. Many sages who cultivated the Way of Thunder would go there to cultivate. As for the Lightning Blood Sacred Tree, Ling Xiao had heard of it before. It was an ancient spiritual root, and the lightning blood sacred fruit it bore was indeed a rare treasure of heaven and earth. It could be used to refine one's physical body, and it could be used to refine supreme pills. It was extremely beneficial even to a sage. Don't worry, brother Ling Xiao. The 3 elders are very powerful. If they work together, they can even fight against a supreme sage. Although they are fighting for the thunder blood fruit, I don't think they will be in too much danger. Fengya said with a smile. That's right. Kid, although the 3 elders have suffered from their Dao injuries for hundreds of thousands of years, this is a blessing in disguise. After their cultivation recovered, they have established a supreme Dao foundation. They are not far from the supreme sage realm. Black Donkey said with a smile. Looking at the time, the three elders should be back soon. Brother Ling Shao, the god of war has conferred you the title of Little God of War. Although the ceremony has not been officially held, your name has spread throughout the god realm. If it wasn't for that despicable emperor, no one would be as famous as you. Tai Nyo said honestly. His eyes were filled with admiration. Emperor? Saying that he has the bloodline of the celestial emperor is just his side of the story. Who has proof? I think this emperor is just a claptrap. If Ling Shao can suppress his Dao body today, I can suppress his real body in the future. Min Ro and Wang Lin said with a cold smile. The Nishang Saintess was usually very prestigious in the God of War temple. She was the idol of many female disciples. Wang Lin and Min Ro were no exception. However, today, the emperor said that he wanted to make the Nishang Saintess his follower. This made them very unhappy with the emperor. The emperor's strength cannot be underestimated. Whether he is the son of the celestial emperor or not, he is a very terrifying opponent. His strength should have advanced to the third level of heaven treading long ago. He awakened in this life just to fight for the opportunity of the Heaven's Choice Convention. Ling Shao said slowly. There was a trace of sharpness in his eyes. For some reason, the moment Ling Shao and Zhou Panlong met the emperor, Ling Shao had a faint feeling that this emperor would be his greatest enemy. The Heaven's Choice Convention. The God realm has been undergoing various changes in the past 10 years. Many people have guessed that the Great Tribulation of the epoch is coming. The Heaven's Choice Convention is about to begin. However, until now, there have been no signs or signs. Bai Susu said suddenly. There was a strange look in her eyes. The words Heaven's Choice Convention seemed to have some kind of magical power. Everyone couldn't help but tremble. Their eyes were filled with anticipation. The Heaven's Choice Convention was the #1 event in the universe. Legend said that it contained the ultimate mystery of becoming an emperor. Anyone who could obtain the title of Heaven's Choice Child would definitely be able to prove their Tao and become an emperor in the future. There were countless opportunities and treasures in the Heaven's Choice Convention. Since ancient times, there were many legends that said that after entering the Heaven's Choice Convention, one's cultivation would advance by leaps and bounds, becoming a supreme expert of a generation. Therefore, there was no one who didn't want to participate in the Heaven's Choice Convention. Even if it contained countless dangers and even the possibility of losing one's life, it still attracted countless geniuses and experts. The Heaven's Choice Convention is said to be held in the ancient land of primal chaos. The ancient land of primal chaos is the origin of all life in the universe and also the end of all life. It carries the will of the universe and is rumored to be the ruler of the heavenly Tao. Therefore, to become the child of heaven is to obtain the approval of the heavenly Tao. However, the ancient land of primal chaos is illusory. No one knows where it is. Only when the Heaven's Choice Convention truly begins will a true passage be formed. Ling Shao said slowly. He had consulted many ancient books and heard countless secrets from the mouths of many experts. Only then did he form a general understanding of the Heaven's Choice Convention. However, Ling Shao could faintly feel that the Heaven's Choice Convention was extremely important to him. Only in the Heaven's Choice Convention could he obtain the most complete transformation. Chapter 2034. On top of the mountain, Ling Shao, Black Donkey, Fengya, and the rest conversed, imagining the various possibilities of the future, especially the Chosen One and the apocalypse of the era. Such events that could engulf the entire universe made them feel extremely pressured, but they also felt that there were endless possibilities. Night fell. The stars in the sky were dazzling, and the vast galaxy was dazzling. A round moon hung high in the sky, clear and flawless, spilling its cold radiance. Ling Shao and the rest set up a bonfire on top of the mountain, grilling the meat of the monsters until it was crystal clear, crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. The aroma assailed their nostrils. Various spiritual fruits and delicacies were taken out, along with various precious wines. Ling Shao hadn't felt so relaxed in a long time. He didn't try to dissolve the effects of the alcohol. Instead, he allowed the drunkenness to spread throughout his body. In his drunken haze, he looked at the full moon in the sky and vaguely saw a beautiful figure. It was Jinsei. Jinsei, I wonder if you're doing well now. Ling Xiao could not help feeling a pang in his heart as he murmured to himself. The most painful thing in the world was not standing in front of you but not knowing that you loved me. It was when we were deeply in love but you had already forgotten who I was. Ling Xiao knew that Jinsei was in the Taisheng Daoist palace now, but every time he thought of Jinsei's unfamiliar gaze, his heart ached so much that he could not breathe. Brother Ling Xiao, vaguely, Ling Xiao seemed to hear a distant voice calling out to him, but he could not hear it clearly. Ling Xiaozui's eyes were hazy, but he seemed to see a silhouette in white in front of him. She was extremely beautiful, and her clear eyes were filled with smiles. Her eyes were shaped like crescent moons, very beautiful. It was Shui Wei, a name that Ling Xiao had almost forgotten. Ling Xiao's heart trembled. Since coming to the realm of gods and being separated from Shui Wei, Ling Xiao had not received any news of Shui Wei. It was as if she had completely disappeared. However, Ling Xiao suddenly realized that Shui Wei had always been in the deepest part of his heart. He had never forgotten her. Deep guilt surged in his heart. For some reason, Ling Xiao suddenly wanted to cry. His emotions were complicated, and his shadow was elongated under the moonlight, looking extremely lonely. Ling Xiao was drunk. He forgot everything and was completely drunk. Lying under the moonlight, listening to the sound of the wind in his ears, he slowly fell asleep. However, he didn't know who had entered his dream. The corners of his mouth curled up into a childlike smile. On the second day, the sun jumped out from the sea of clouds, sprinkling down endless rays of light. Ling Xiao woke up from his deep slumber, feeling refreshed. He sat cross-legged on top of the mountain, bathed in the radiant morning glow, and breathed in the essence of heaven and earth. A strand of innate purple qi from the morning sun was absorbed into his stomach, causing thunderous sounds to erupt from his body. His blood and qi surged like a gushing river. Ling Xiao's condition was unprecedentedly good. He felt as if his state of mind had undergone some kind of transformation. His cultivation had unknowingly reached the peak of the 7th revolution half-step saint realm. He could cross the 8th nirvana tribulation at any time. The 3 senior martial brothers are back. Ling Xiao slowly opened his eyes. 2 streaks of light flickered, causing the void to tremble slightly. Lu Bai had just transmitted a message to him, telling him that Lu Wenzheng and the other 2 had returned from the Thunder Lake in the west. However, they seemed to have suffered some injuries and were currently in the Battle Sky Saint realm. I'd like to see who dared to hurt my 3 senior martial brothers. Ling Xiao's eyes shone brilliantly. His entire being exuded a sense of majesty. He took a step forward, and the void around him flickered. Chaotic mist spread out as he walked towards the depths of the Sea of Clouds, entering the Battle Sky Saint realm. Ling Xiao was now the minor god of war of the War God Temple, and he had obtained the complete Battle Sky secret skill. Naturally, he had the authority to enter and exit the Battle Sky Saint realm as he wished. In the Battle Sky Saint realm, he saw Lu Bai, Lu Wenzheng, and the other 2. The complexions of Lu Wenzheng, Chong He, and Chong Su were somewhat pale. Their white robes were stained with blood. Their auras were also somewhat chaotic. Their entire bodies were emitting a kind of monstrous baleful aura. It was as if they had killed their way out of a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. My 3 senior martial brothers, who injured you like this? Ling Xiao's eyes turned cold, and the aura around him became bone-chilling. Junior martial brother, you've finally come out. Ha ha ha. Looks like our trip wasn't in vain. Here are 3 Thunderblood sacred fruits, enough for your indestructible saint technique to reach the next level and condense an immortal body. Lu Wenzheng laughed heartily when he saw Ling Xiao. Then, he handed over a jade box to Ling Xiao. There were 3 purple fruits in the jade box. They were the size of a fist. They were enshrouded in beautiful thunderbolts. There were blood-red patterns on the surface of the fruits. They looked like the blood vessels in the human body. They looked extremely mysterious. These were the Thunderblood's sacred fruits, the biggest harvest of Lu Wenjing's group. Ling Xiao could even feel the majestic energy contained within the fruits. This was the purest force of the Tao of thunder and the essence of life. It was slightly beating like a heart. Senior Marshal brothers, you went to snatch the Thunderblood sacred fruits for me? Ling Xiao said slowly. He couldn't help but feel a warm current in his heart. The Thunderblood's sacred fruits were rare treasures of heaven and earth. Even for saints, they were treasures that could only be chanced upon by luck. However, Lu Wenjing's group had gone deep into the Western Thunder Lake for Ling Xiao, and even suffered serious injuries. Junior Marshal brother, these Thunderblood sacred fruits are extremely important to you. You have already cultivated the indestructible saint technique to the level of the leakless true body. With the Thunderblood's sacred fruits, you might be able to condense an immortal body. At that time, your physical body and life force will be extremely strong, and you will be able to be reborn from a single drop of blood. We will be relieved. The Void Pierce stage expert coughed violently a few times, and his face flushed red. However, he still smiled and said, "That's right. These Thunderblood sacred fruits have accumulated the energy of the Western Thunder Lake for millions of years. Damn it. This time, the Thunderblood sacred tree only bore 9 Thunderblood sacred fruits. In the end, 6 of them were snatched away by the 9 layers Imperial Obelisk and the 5 Elements Saint sect. Otherwise, Junior Marshal brother would definitely be able to break through with 9 Thunderblood sacred fruits." Chong he cursed and said unhappily. Senior Marshal brothers, were the people from the 9 layers Imperial Obelisk and the 5 Elements Saint sect the ones who injured you? Ling Zhao's eyes were cold as he took a deep breath and said, "It's that old bastard Huang Tai. Hee, I didn't expect that old bastard to be so lucky as to break through to the Great Saint Realm. Moreover, he even brought the projection of the 9 layers Thunder Blade to ambush us." Chapter 2035. It turned out that Lu Wenjing, Chong He, and Chong Su had found out about the Lightning Blood Sacred Tree in the Western Thunder Lake from the ancient books. They had headed to the Western Thunder Lake to harvest the ripe Lightning Blood Sacred Fruit. However, when the Lightning Blood Sacred Fruit had ripened, it had caused the experts of the 9 Imperial Gates and the 5 Elements Saint sect to come to the Western Thunder Lake to fight for the Lightning Blood Sacred Fruit. Although Lu Wenjing and the other 2 were strong, Huang Tai had launched a sneak attack on them. Moreover, he had brought along a projection of the Apex Monarch weapon, the 9-fold Imperial Obelisk. Lu Wenjing and the other 2 were severely injured. They had to fight their way out in order to escape. Hee, the 9-layered lightning blade is said to be the Lightning Emperor's Extreme Emperor weapon. It has now become the supreme treasure of the 9 Imperial Gates. I don't know what kind of fortune that old bastard Huang Tai obtained, but he actually took the final step. But, we'll remember this enmity. Sooner or later, we'll make him pay with blood. Chong Su sneered coldly. Huang Tai. He really deserves to die. Ling Zhao's eyes were filled with killing intent. He was completely enraged. More than 10 years ago, Huang Tai had come to the War God's shrine and questioned him with the might of a saint. He had even used the Saint Dao Heart Inquisition to pursue the matter of Ling Xiao killing Huang Wuji. In the end, he had fought with Ling Xiao but did not gain any advantage. This time, Lu Wenjing and the other 2 had almost died in Huang Tai's hands. Ling Zhao's killing intent towards Huang Tai had risen to the extreme. Junior brother, Huang Tai is nothing to be afraid of. He will die sooner or later. You don't have to worry about him for now. The Heaven's Choice Conference is about to begin. I heard that you killed Tuo Yu and Zi Ning, offending the Emperor. I'm afraid the Emperor and the 9 Imperial Gates will not let you go. During this time, you should stay in the sect and cultivate properly to prepare for the heavenly selection meeting. Lu Wenjing said slowly. He was afraid that Ling Xiao would seek revenge on Huang Tai and fall into the 9 Imperial Gates trap. After all, the Emperor and the 9 Imperial Gates hated Ling Xiao to the core. They probably wanted Ling Xiao to leave the war god shrine so that they could take action against Ling Xiao. Although Lu Wenjing knew that Ling Xiao's combat strength was extraordinary and that he had a supreme treasure like the overturning sky seal to protect himself, he could at most fight with a sage. The strength of a great sage was incomparably terrifying. It was far from being comparable to a sage. Senior brothers, don't worry. I won't act rashly. Ling Xiao understood Lu Wenjing and the other two's worries and concerns. Lu Bai looked at Ling Xiao with a hint of admiration in his eyes. Junior Martial Uncle, I didn't think that you would be able to fully comprehend the heaven battling secret technique in just a short 10 years. With the heaven battling secret technique protecting you and your exceptional perception, even if you participate in the Heaven's Choice Convention, we can rest assured. When Ling Xiao killed Tuoba Yu and Zi Ning, he used the Battle Heaven's skill to summon the Supreme Sky Flipping Seal and the Yen Emperor Cauldron. Lu Bai saw it too and was amazed by Ling Xiao's comprehension ability. Lord War God, you flatter me. However, if even the 12th ranked battle heavenly merit is so terrifying, I really don't know how powerful the top 11 heavenly merit arts are. Ling Xiao said with some emotion. After comprehending the heaven battling secret technique, Ling Xiao finally understood why the first 12 heavenly merit arts were called the 12 heavenly merit arts among the 108 heavenly merit arts in the wordless heavenly book. Not only did the 12 heavenly merit arts contain the heavenly Tao, but they were also unparalleled killing techniques. They were extremely powerful and could be used as the foundation to prove one's Tao. Ling Xiao could feel that if he could prove his Tao and become a martial sage with the heaven battling secret technique, his combat strength would definitely surpass that of an ordinary martial sage. The foundation of the 12 immortal sacred grounds is the 12 heavenly merit arts. The 12 heavenly merit arts contain the creation of the heavens and the heavenly Tao. You may not be able to reach the peak even if you spend your entire life trying. Speaking of which, the 12 heavenly merit arts each have their own merits. If you cultivate them to the peak, it is said that you can become a great emperor. Take your time to comprehend them and you will naturally discover their mysteries. Lu Bai said slowly as his eyes shone with divine light. As the war god of the war god temple, he naturally used the heaven battling secret technique to prove his Tao. He had a deep understanding of the heaven battling secret technique. I understand. Ling Xiao said with a nod. Little Uncle Master, we called you here this time because the 3 Uncle Masters have discovered a forbidden area. It is very likely that it leads to the chaotic ancient land. Lu Bai and Lu Wenjing looked at each other and then said seriously to Ling Xiao. The chaotic ancient land? Which forbidden area is it? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed and his heart couldn't help but tremble. The chaotic ancient land was the origin of all worlds and the location of the Heaven's Choice Convention. It was usually untraceable and even martial sages didn't know where it was. It would only appear when the Heaven's Choice Convention began. When the Heaven's Choice Convention began, passages to the chaotic ancient land would appear in all worlds. At that time, billions of Heaven's prides would enter the chaotic ancient land to compete. It would be the first grand event since ancient times. Therefore, whoever discovered the chaotic ancient land first would naturally have the upper hand. Little junior brother, we are also hesitating whether we should tell you. After all, the Heaven's Choice Convention has not begun yet. Although the chaotic ancient land has appeared, it will be very dangerous if you go there now. There was a trace of hesitation in Lu Wenjing's eyes. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said, Senior brother, we are cultivators, and we defy the heavens. Why would we be afraid of danger? Moreover, if we want to obtain opportunities, we naturally have to take a little risk. If I can enter the chaotic ancient land first, I will naturally have the upper hand. Little Uncle Masters, am I right? Little Uncle Master will definitely not let go of this opportunity. Lu Bai smiled at Lu Wenjing and the other two. Lu Wenjing and the other two looked at each other and smiled bitterly. Although they had already expected Ling Xiao's attitude, they still had some hesitation in their hearts. Little junior brother, we heard the news by accident and went to investigate. We found that the universe is filled with chaotic chi, and strange lights are rising for billions of miles. There is also a primordial Taoist rhyme. I'm afraid there is a passage to the ancient land of chaos. Lu Wenjing said seriously. The universe? The universe of the Daluo territory? Ling Zhao's heart trembled, and he immediately believed it. The universe was an ancient forbidden land, and it was filled with a mysterious power of law. There were many broken stars and small worlds, and they gathered to form the mysterious heavenly river, which surged endlessly. Legend had it that the universe led to the heavens and realms. There were also legends that said that the universe was the beginning of chaos. However, the true secrets of the universe had never been revealed. The universe was located in the Daluo territory, and it was far more dangerous than the Great Swamp of the West. Even saints could die if they entered it, and it was known as one of the most dangerous forbidden lands in the divine realm. Chapter 2036. That's right. It's the heavenly river of the Daluo territory. The heavenly river is known as the origin of all worlds. It's extremely mysterious and contains countless broken stars and small worlds from the ancient war. There are also countless ancient killing arrays and cracks in the void. Murderous intent is everywhere. However, during this period of time, an immeasurable amount of chaotic aura has emerged and divine light pierced through the 9 heavens. Combined with the ancient books, I'm afraid that the passage to the ancient land of chaos will appear in the heavenly river. Lu Wenjing nodded and said. Although the heavenly river is very dangerous and uninhabited, the vision is too strong. I'm afraid that other than us, others have seen it. Chong Su said slowly. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed and he said, Senior brothers, as far as I know, although the heavenly river is dangerous, the heavenly law is extremely chaotic. It's extremely dangerous for a sage expert. However, it's safer for a half-step sage expert, right? It seems that I should really go and check it out. That's right. In the heavenly river, the survival rate of a half-step sage is indeed higher than that of a sage. Therefore, we only checked the periphery and didn't go deep. However, if you go, in addition to facing all kinds of dangers in the heavenly river, you'll also have to face the experts of other sections. You must be careful. Chong He warned. Lu Baiyi's eyes moved and he said slowly, Junior Marshal Uncle, there's one more thing you need to pay attention to. I heard that although the heavenly river is an ancient forbidden land, there are powerful ancient clans living in seclusion. If you encounter an ancient clan member, you must be even more careful. Ancient clan? I understand. Ling Xiao nodded with a strange look in his eyes. He had also heard rumors about the ancient race. Many of the powerful races from ancient times or even countless eras ago were no longer the main characters of the world, but they still lived in seclusion in forbidden lands, waiting for the day when the world would undergo a great change and the era would restart. Then, they would compete for the title of Era Lord again. The heavenly river was vast and boundless, and it was one of the most mysterious forbidden lands in the divine realm. It was very likely that there were ancient clans living in seclusion there. Next, Lu Baiyi, Lu Wenjing, and Chong He explained some things to Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao immediately decided to go to the heavenly river. If there was really a passage to the ancient land of chaos in the heavenly river, the earlier he went, the earlier he could gain the upper hand and gather information for the War God Temple. In the entire War God Temple, only Ling Xiao could shoulder this heavy responsibility. Do you need any help on this trip? Lu Baiyi asked. His original intention was for Ling Xiao to be alone. Perhaps he could get Anai Shang, Wu Xiong, Gao Yang, and the others to follow Ling Xiao. No need, I can do it alone. Ling Xiao shook his head. The more people there were, the bigger the target. At that time, it would be even more dangerous. If Ling Xiao acted alone, even if he was no match for the enemy, he would still be able to escape unscathed. Lu Baiyi understood what Ling Xiao meant and did not force him. If that's the case, I'll use the supreme power of the Heaven Battling Seal to send you to the heavenly river. You'll have to rely on yourself from now on. Be careful. Lu Baiyi said solemnly. I will. Ling Xiao nodded and said. This time, Ling Xiao was prepared to bring the white dragon horse with him to the universe. The white dragon horse had awakened the bloodline of the dragon tribe and the Pegasus. Not only was its combat strength unparalleled, but it could also travel through the void with extreme speed. Even an ordinary sage might not be able to catch up with the white dragon horse. Go to the Milky Way. Ha ha ha. Great. Let us be the first to reach the chaotic ancient land. When the time comes, we'll sweep across the universe. I'll also become the chosen one, the #1 emperor of all time. After hearing Ling Xiao's words, the white dragon horse's eyes lit up. It agreed without hesitation. This fellow had an adventurous spirit in its bones. When it heard that the Milky Way was filled with danger, the blood in its body was about to boil. It could not wait to head to the Milky Way. I can bring you there, but you have to listen to my orders. Otherwise, don't blame me for teaching you a lesson. Ling Xiao glared at the white dragon horse and warned. He knew that this fellow was a little unreliable. He had to warn it in advance so that it would restrain itself. Otherwise, the white dragon horse might cause trouble. No problem. You're the boss. You have the final say. The white dragon horse agreed without hesitation. Nay, the white dragon horse's body flashed. The divine light was unparalleled. Auspicious vapors rose from it. In an instant, it transformed from a black donkey into a white dragon horse. It looked very majestic. The snow-white fur on its body was crystal clear. There was not a trace of impurities. Its 4 limbs were strong and powerful. Clouds rose from under its hooves. Its head was held high, and it had an unruly temperament. Its pair of eyes were extremely lively, rolling around in circles. It seemed to be very pleased with itself, showing off a mouthful of white teeth as it ran around in a circle in the void. It was like a bolt of white lightning. Its speed was extremely fast. Its shadow seemed to be hidden in the void. It was impossible to see it with the naked eye. This fellow's speed is indeed abnormal. Ling Xiao praised in his heart. He might be able to catch up to the white dragon horse's speed if he used the secret teleportation skill. However, using the secret teleportation skill consumed a lot of energy. He could not last as long as the white dragon horse. Let's go. Ling Xiao leaped onto the white dragon horse's back. The white dragon horse snorted unhappily and rolled its eyes. It wondered if it should throw Ling Xiao off its back, but in the end, it did not have the guts to do so. It obediently ran forward. In the heaven-battling sage realm, Ling Xiao rode the white dragon horse and stood in a dazzling light. Mysterious symbols intertwined around him. The void was trembling slightly. It was as if a supreme power was about to awaken. Young martial uncle, the dragon horse is the mount of the great ancient emperor. I did not expect you to have such an opportunity. With the dragon horse as your mount, we can rest assured. Get ready. I am going to activate the power of the heaven-battling seal. Lu Bai exclaimed in admiration when he saw the white dragon horse. The dragon horse was a sacred beast. According to legend, it was the mount of the great ancient emperor. It had the highest bloodline in the Pegasus race. It was the king of the Pegasus race. Many people yearned for it. It was too rare. The dragon horse's extreme speed was rare. If it could communicate with its master, it could unleash several times its combat strength. It was one of the strongest mounts in the ancient times. Young martial brother, take care. Lu Wenzheng and the other 2 said seriously. Lord Battle God, senior martial brothers, don't worry. I am leaving. Ling Xiao smiled and nodded. Rumble. The void trembled violently. Blazing divine light gushed out. The void above Ling Xiao's head distorted. A mysterious ancient seal appeared vaguely. It was intertwined with Tao and truth. It was surrounded by divine chains of order. Under the majestic emperor's aura, everything was like an ant. This was the war god temple's emperor weapon, the heaven-battling seal. Ling Xiao stared at the heaven-battling seal. This was the first time he saw the heaven-battling seal at such a close distance. He did not know why, but he suddenly felt that the heaven-battling seal's aura was very similar to the sky-flipping seal. Kacha! However, Ling Xiao did not have time to observe it. The heaven-battling seal instantly wrapped around him and the white dragon horse and pierced through the void. It was as if they had pierced through endless time and space. They instantly disappeared from the heaven-battling sacred realm. Chapter 2037. In the center of the Daluo territory, there was a vast and mysterious region. The dazzling Milky Way traversed hundreds of millions of miles of the void. It was dazzling and enshrouded in a mysterious and vast power of law, as if it was a world of its own. There were countless broken stars floating in the Milky Way. They looked ancient and mysterious, releasing mysterious light. There were strange symbols rising, as if they had completely become part of the great Tao law. There were also many broken small worlds, emitting strong spatial fluctuations. There were silent fragments of the void passing by, swallowing the broken stars and floating mountains in front of them. It was chilling. This was one of the most mysterious forbidden areas in the divine world, the Milky Way of the universe. Buzz! A dazzling light bloomed, and the void seemed to shatter. A figure instantly appeared in the periphery of the Milky Way of the universe. It was a man and a horse. They were bathed in divine light, and their auras were extremely powerful. It was Ling Xiao and the white dragon horse. Lu Baiyi used the supreme divine power of the heaven-battling seal to penetrate the layers of void and sent them from the War God Temple to the periphery of the Milky Way of the universe. Is this the Milky Way of the universe? It's indeed magnificent and extraordinary. Ling Xiao looked at the Milky Way of the universe in front of him with a trace of amazement in his eyes. Looking from afar, the Milky Way of the universe was shrouded in endless divine light. The chaotic mist rose, and the auspicious air pervaded the air. It was as if it was the birthplace of the gods. The atmosphere was magnificent and vast. It was Ling Xiao's first time in the Milky Way of the universe. The magnificent scene in front of him was like a mythical world at the beginning of the world. It was incomparably mysterious. The chaotic aura rises here, and the scene is astonishing. Even if there is no passage to the chaotic ancient land, there must be treasures of heaven and earth. The white dragon horse's eyes shone, and it was eager to try. Ling Xiao nodded and said, "That's right. The end of an epoch is a time of destruction, but also a time of rebirth. Countless heavenly materials and earthly treasures will appear, and even the caves of ancient emperors will appear to select their successors. This is an era of great competition, and also the most glorious age. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go in and get some origin source sacred elixirs so that we can break through to the peak of the sage to be." The white dragon horse laughed and said. Hiss! The white dragon horse neighed and emitted a milky white light. Like a bolt of lightning, it pierced through the void and shot into the Milky Way. Ling Xiao sat on the white dragon horse's back with a faint smile on his face. He did not stop it and allowed it to gallop freely. Crack! As soon as he entered the Milky Way, Ling Xiao felt a great power enveloping him. Chaotic qi permeated the surroundings, and the void trembled. It was as if the laws of the world had become extremely unfamiliar. A black void crack appeared in front of the white dragon horse in an instant, as if it wanted to swallow it whole. You want to harm your grandfather with a mere void crack? How arrogant! The white dragon horse laughed proudly. Its body turned at an incredible angle, as if it was cut off. It dodged the attack directly, and its speed did not decrease. It continued to fly forward. Crack! Boom! The area where the white dragon horse was seemed to be an ocean of void cracks. After the void crack appeared, the void began to crack like a spider web. The void cracks spread towards the white dragon horse at an extremely fast speed, and wanted to swallow it completely. Ow! The white dragon horse gave a strange cry. Its speed became faster, as if it had turned into a shadow that could not be captured by the naked eye. It flew into the depths of the Milky Way. The white dragon horse stepped on the vault of heaven and galloped in the Milky Way as if it was dancing on the tip of a knife. Even the void cracks could not catch up with the white dragon horse's speed. Ling Xiao sat on the white dragon horse's back. The wind whistled around him, and the scenery became blurred. He could only feel that there were stars around him that were flying past rapidly. Hee, you want to catch up with your grandfather? Dream on. The white dragon horse shouted proudly as it galloped. Its face was full of pride, and it looked like it was asking for a beating. Whoosh! Suddenly, a black shadow flashed by and turned into an extremely thick tentacle. It was like a black python that wrapped around Ling Xiao and Zhao Ritian. Who is it? Who sneaked up on your grandfather? The white dragon horse let out a loud cry. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. In an instant, he saw on a broken star beside him, there was a black ancient tree that was 10,000 feet tall. It was emitting an extremely demonic aura. Its branches and leaves were like huge tentacles that covered the sky. It wrapped around Ling Xiao and the white dragon horse tightly, and then sent them towards the black ancient tree. Ling Xiao could even see that there was a huge demonic face on the black ancient tree. It had a ferocious mouth, and a strong fishy smell assaulted his nostrils. It wanted to swallow Ling Xiao and the white dragon horse whole. What kind of demonic tree is this? Damn bastard! The white dragon horse shouted. Its eyes were filled with grief and indignation. It was still showing off earlier, moving freely in the universe as if there was no danger that could harm it. However, it did not expect that in the blink of an eye, its joy turned into sorrow. This demonic tree that came out of nowhere had sneakily ambushed him and Ling Xiao, and even wanted to devour them. Rumble. The white dragon horse's body was blazing with divine light. It struggled violently, and an unparalleled divine power burst out, wanting to break all the tentacles. However, it did not expect the tentacles to be so tough that they were not weaker than ordinary lower-grade holy treasures. It was as if they were made of gold and iron. They were extremely sturdy and stubborn. The white dragon horse could not destroy these tentacles in a short time. This is the devouring demonic tree. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with divine light. He immediately recognized the origin of the ancient tree in front of him. The devouring demonic tree was also considered an ancient spiritual root. It was extremely evil and could devour all living things that came close to it, absorbing all vitality. The place where the devouring demonic tree was located was barren, and not a single blade of grass grew. The devouring demonic tree in front of him had cultivated to an extremely powerful realm. It had devoured all the vitality and energy of the broken star. It had even evolved into extremely sturdy tentacles that could capture living things and experts for it to break through. Rumble. The corner of Ling Xiao's mouth revealed a strange smile. In an instant, the golden qi and blood around him rose, turning into blazing golden flames that burned fiercely. Although the tentacles that wrapped around him were extremely sturdy, they seemed to be extremely afraid of the flames on Ling Xiao's body. They actually emitted a wave of fear. In an instant, they gave up entangling Ling Xiao and the white dragon horse and withdrew. Want to leave? It's not that easy. You'd better hand over your devouring demonic seed. Chapter 2038. The sky-devouring demon tree nurtured the sky-devouring demonic seed, which contained tremendous devouring origin. It was extremely precious. Ling Xiao's sky-devouring secret technique had already reached the great achievement of the sky-devouring divine seed. Next, he would touch upon the way of devouring. He needed to completely comprehend the origin of devouring before he could break through again. The sky-devouring demonic seed was very important to Ling Xiao. If he could absorb the origin of devouring, he might be able to break through again. Boom! The scorching fist mark was like a resplendent sun that rose up. It radiated with endless light and heat. It was extremely powerful. Roar! As if it sensed the great threat from Ling Xiao, the sky-devouring demon tree actually erupted with an extremely terrifying mental storm. It directly charged towards Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness. The sound was extremely sharp, as if it could shatter the soul to pieces. At the same time, huge tree branches covered the sky and formed a huge shield in front of the sky-devouring demonic tree. That terrifying mental energy fluctuation caused Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness to tremble, and his primordial spirit felt a little pain. However, his primordial spirit was incomparably powerful, and with the wordless heavenly book's protection, the discomfort disappeared instantly. Ling Xiao's fist mark landed on the sky-devouring demon tree loudly. Crack! The terrifying fist mark possessed the power to destroy everything. The branches of the sky-devouring demon tree trembled violently. In the end, they actually exploded into pieces. Countless branches exploded. Ling Xiao's punch pierced through all the obstacles before landing heavily on the sky-devouring demon tree. Boom! The sky-devouring demon tree trembled violently, but a mysterious devouring power appeared from its trunk, nullifying the power of Ling Xiao's fist mark. However, the punch was enough to scare the sky-devouring demon tree out of its wits. Swish! The sky-devouring demon tree immediately pulled itself out of the damaged star. Its roots were like human feet. It began to flee like a black whirlwind. It was extremely fast. Oh no, oh no! Someone wants to kill the tree. The sky-devouring demon tree shrieked like a pig being slaughtered as it fled. Ling Xiao could not help but be stunned when he saw how strange the sky-devouring demon tree was. Ling Xiao, go after it. We can't let this damned bastard go. Go kill it. The white dragon horse shouted as if it wanted to see the world in chaos. It really is the sky-devouring demonic tree. It has the sky-devouring demonic seed in its body. Chase it. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he leaped onto the back of the white dragon horse. Heaven-devouring demonic seed. Don't run, get your ass back here. The white dragon horse shivered when it heard the words sky-devouring demonic seed. As if it had been injected with chicken blood, it immediately chased after the sky-devouring demonic tree. The heaven-devouring demonic seed was extremely mysterious. Not only could it help Ling Xiao achieve a breakthrough in his heaven-devouring secret skill, but if the white dragon horse could refine it, it would be able to use the heaven-devouring demonic seed as its foundation and refine the blood in its body. At that time, its strength would be even more terrifying. It could be said that the effect of the heaven-devouring demonic seed on the white dragon horse was even stronger than it was on Soaring Cloud. The white dragon horse knew this, so it immediately began to fight for its life. It used the extreme speed of space travel to chase after the sky-devouring demonic tree. The sky-devouring demonic tree ran in front while Ling Xiao chased after it on the white dragon horse. Although the sky-devouring demonic tree's speed was not as fast as the white dragon horse, it was extremely slippery like a loach. Moreover, it was proficient in escape techniques and could escape through various damaged stars. It could even escape into the turbulence of the void. As a result, the white dragon horse could not catch up with it for a while and it neighed furiously. Ling Xiao, quickly think of a way to catch it. If it really escapes into the depths of the universe, it might enter some forbidden area. By then, it will be difficult to catch it. The white dragon horse said to Ling Xiao anxiously. Don't worry, it won't be able to escape. Ling Xiao's eyes had a tinge of wisdom. Blazing sword radiance shot out from his hand and the sky-devouring sword appeared in his palm. Then, he slashed it towards a star in front of him. Rumble. The sky-devouring sword radiance shot out and covered billions of miles. It turned into a gigantic sword aura that covered the sky and split the star in half. As the sword radiance shot out, the void in all directions trembled violently. The star was split open by Ling Xiao and the sky-devouring demonic tree was hiding in it. You! How did you find me? The sky-devouring demonic tree was scared out of its wits. It was shivering all over and its branches and leaves were shaking violently. It was ready to escape at any time. It had secretly hidden in this planet and released a doppelganger to escape. It wanted to confuse Ling Xiao and the white dragon horse, but it did not expect Ling Xiao to see through it in one glance. Don't think about escaping. Look at your surroundings. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. As soon as he said that, the void trembled. The 9 Heaven Tao Primal Chaos tablets emitted an ancient and mysterious aura. They appeared around the sky-devouring demonic tree, and a strong sealing force spread out, trapping the sky-devouring demonic tree in the middle. The Heaven Tao Primal Chaos tablets contained unparalleled power. Although their attacking power was not as strong as the Heaven Flipping Seal, the sealed space it formed was extremely strong. It was not something an ordinary person could break. Even the sky-devouring demonic tree could not break it. Feeling the terrifying power of the Heaven Tao Primal Chaos tablets, the sky-devouring demonic tree was in despair. Big brother, master, I was wrong. Can you spare my life? As long as you can spare my life, even if you want me to be your cow or horse, I'm willing. The sky-devouring demonic tree looked at the 9 Heaven Tao Primal Chaos tablets and trembled. Its demonic face was filled with uncertainty. In the end, it knelt down in front of Ling Xiao with a pitiful expression. Fuck, Ling Xiao, isn't this guy too spineless? The legendary sky-devouring demonic tree has unparalleled demonic power. It can devour the sky and the sun. It can even devour a great world. How can it be like this? The white dragon horse opened its eyes wide in disbelief. Hee, big brother, how much can a spineless person be worth? If I don't even have my life, then everything will be over. It wasn't easy for me to cultivate to where I am today. If I die like this, how can I devour the sky and the sun? The sky-devouring demonic tree licked its lips as though it wanted to prove its worth. It quickly added, Big brothers, don't worry. I know the situation well.